Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Saturday. It's all running together now. Happy Sunday evening to you, family, and welcome back to another weekend live edition of Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talford. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, of course, welcome back. Now, y'all, I have an exciting topic for you guys tonight. I've got some amazing guests. I'm waiting for one more to join, and I'm wondering if I had some technical difficulties, you all, so I do apologize for the tardiness. Y'all know these things happen sometimes, so got it. Okay, yeah, that's from one of my guests, so she'll be joining us here shortly, but I got an exciting show for you guys tonight. I've got some returning guests that they're back by popular demand. You guys loved the shows that I had these two guests on, and they're going to be back with us tonight. So as I wait for a few more people to join, I am going to set it off with some music that I think is appropriate. All right. Now, some of you all let me know that you enjoyed the James D. Train Williams selection that I had last week. So I'm gonna hit y'all with one of my favorite ones. All right, James D. Train Williams. All right. And yo, what's up, Bernadette? Thank you for joining. All right. So Bernadette, do me a favor and let me know if you can join the if you can go ahead and click that link, because I'm going to be bringing you in here shortly. Oh man, I need to brush my hair, y'all. What the heck is going on here? Oh my God, look here. Hey, let me do something, y'all. I just took the wave cap off. I got a haircut today. Y'all know what you do. Y'all already know what it is, but y'all know what it is, man. Let me stop. Let me go ahead and set this music off, y'all, and we're gonna get this party started. All right. You're watching Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talford. Again, welcome to those of you who are new. I see some new names there. Karen, shout out to you. Thank you for joining. We got Bernadette in the house. We got BE Royalty in the house. And we got a new brother on here, H. Basley III. H. Basley 3. Thank you for joining, bro. We're going to get this, get some music started for you guys, and then we're going to get this party on and popping, all right? Let me switch it over, and you guys give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me. I think you guys are good. So I think we're good here. Let me check, because I know y'all know I've had some issues with the audio in the past. So I just want to make sure we are good to go up in here. So let's see what we got here. Settings, let's see, audio, and we're on the G track. So I'm good. All right. So now let me y'all do me a favor, tap that like button on your way in. It's going to alert more people and let them know that we're on live. We're online and live for this hot show we got tonight, y'all. We're talking about some hot topics. We're going back on this Pope. Y'all know, those of you that saw the live stream before, where I broke down the natal chart for the new church under Pope Leo. All right, we're back around with that, and it says device is not connected. Okay, that's all right. She'll be in here shortly. So we've got looks like we got some okay, I got it. Okay. Y'all are in here. Give me a minute, y'all, because I'm gonna go and get my tea and brush my hair, because I look a little wild right now, and I'm gonna be right back. You're watching Maddie's Rap. All right. When I get back, we're talking Pope Leo. We're talking Ibrahim Traore. We're talking President Trump and what's going on between him and Beanie Man. Y'all already know why I call him Beanie Man. I told y'all he don't get BB anymore, because BB is too close to Baba, and he ain't none of my daddy. All right. He ain't none of my daddy. All right. So he don't get no BB from me. I'm gonna call him Beanie Man, because he wear them beanie caps. You know what I'm saying? Story for another day. Don't get triggered. Don't get triggered if you wear a beanie cap. I ain't mad at you. Do you? All right. And then I got a bonus, y'all. I got a hot bonus where I'm going to be talking about a recent post by Dr. Mumbi Saraki. If y'all are not up on Dr. Mumbi Saraki, pay attention to her right now. I've been following her for some years. And back when she was doing Wake Up Africa and doing the African continent news, and she kind of switched to Dr. Mumbi Spiritual Show, she drops some interesting topics, y'all, and she's keeping us abreast of what's going on in the world. I told y'all a while ago everything's going back east, but I'm sliding already in, and I'm not ready to get in yet, y'all. So let me do this. Let me pop some music on for y'all, family, and we'll get this party started. I'm gonna step away, get my tea and lemon and honey, because y'all know the voice kind of goes out a little bit sometimes. I'm not talking that up, but I do want to be prepared. So y'all stand by. I'm going to step away for just a moment. All right. I'll be right back. You're watching Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talford. Thank you for being here. Little James D. Train Williams, you're the one for me. I'll be right back.
With your love by my side, the world will be mine. With this love I found, takes my feet up off the ground to fly away. With this love I live, takes away my every fear, don't go away. You just don't know what you did to me, but I'm not the same. I'm not the same. Since you gave me, let me tell you from the rain. You just don't know how you make me feel, cause we love, girl, it's so unreal. I got love, no desire, just your love, my soul's on fire. I stand up on the top, shout out loud, the one for me. Your love by my side, the world will be mine, the one for me. I stand up on the top, shout out loud, the one for me. Your love by my side, the world will be mine, the one for me. I'm riding on the cloud, got to shine it out loud, on my own. Baby, hold on tight for the rest of my life, don't let go. You just don't know what you did to me, but I'm not the same. I'm not the same. Since you gave me, not to tell God from the rain. You just don't know how you make me feel. Cause we love, girl, it's so unreal. I got love, desire from your love. My soul's on fire. The love I have inside of me, we can turn this world around. We can live through all eternity, and we never touch the gun. We'll take your chance to ride upon the star to a place that far away. The light of love will shine on us forever and a day. The love I have inside of me, we can turn this world around. We can live through all eternity, and we never touch the gun. We'll take your chance to ride upon the star to a place that far away. The light of love will shine on us forever and a day. With the love I have inside of me, we can turn this world around. We can live through all eternity, and we never touch the ground. We'll take your chance to ride upon the sun to a place that's far away. The light of love will shine on us forever and a day. You're the one for me. Shout out loud, the one
All right, family, let's take this thing on down. Let's take this thing on down, family. Let's take it on down, get this thing cranked. Let's get it crunk, family. All right. That was James D. Train Williams. You're the one for me. Old school. Y'all know they don't even do it like that anymore. What is up, family? We got 12 people in the house. Let me see who's in. Let's do a roll call real quick. Let's see what we got in here. We got Karen in the house. Bernadette. All right. Basley. He says Pope Leo's maternal grandparents is from New Orleans. They were Creole from New Orleans. 7th Ward. I went to high school in the 7th, St. Augustine High School. Okay, shout out to you then, brother. I'm not very familiar with Louisiana. I was stationed there when I was in the Army. I was stationed at Fort Polk, and my whole life I've only been in New Orleans one time, and that was to sing at a church for one of the fellow soldiers that was in our. He sang on our gospel choir at the I can't say the church because y'all know how it is. For those of y'all that have been in the military, they share the chapel service. So it's like you got one single chapel, aka church, and they'll have like a Catholic service, a Protestant service, whatever. They do it at different times. And of course, they put the gospel service on last because I guess they figure we don't know how to leave, right? Catholic, they starting, if they got a 1 hour service, they starting on time, they ending on time, all right? Protestant, same thing. Y'all know we get up in there, folks catch the spirit, and service tends to go a little bit longer than it's supposed to, I guess, or whatever. But y'all know they put us on last, so it is what it is. But we did go down to New Orleans one year, and I'm gonna tell you something. That brother's mother cooked for the choir. She made gumbo. Heck, I still didn't brush my hair, y'all. Golly. Hey man, listen, I can't do this, y'all. I can't see myself. I'll be right back, family. All right, y'all. Y'all know how it is, man. Some of y'all got moms. My mom be watching my videos, and mothers don't hold back. You know, she gonna be like, look, son, you need to brush your hair the next time before. So I ain't even trying to hear it. Mom, if you're watching this, you're probably watching this on demand. I heard you in my third ear, okay? All right, so I had to brush my hair, y'all. I couldn't be on here looking raggedy. My mom, she don't play no games. She gonna let me hear it. So anyway, but yeah, that was my experience down in New Orleans. So I had a good time when I was in the military. Wasn't particular on Louisiana, to be honest. I didn't like how some of the local politics went there, but you know, I was shielded from a little bit of that being in the military, but it is what it is. So who else we got? We got Tora Girl in the house. Jojo Mac, what's up, brother? What is up? All right, y'all. That's enough for me to get started. So thank y'all for being here on this Sunday night. I know y'all could be anywhere on the planet right now, but y'all hanging out with Matt D. Talford, and I do not take that lightly, okay? I do not take that lightly at all. So I know y'all are ready. Without further ado, for me to introduce my guest and give y'all the playbill for tonight. All right. So let me check my email here. Let me make sure I didn't get anything new here. Okay. Let's see. Got it. Let's see. Where am I? Hang on, family. Okay. Where we at? Where are we? Okay, got it. That's what I needed. Okay, y'all. So before I introduce my guest, y'all know what I do over here. I'm going to read the description box copy because I know everybody doesn't read it. Or I got people that's on the road too. Shout out to my truckers that listen to me when y'all watch my videos on demand and listen to me while y'all are driving. Shout out to y'all. I greatly appreciate y'all so much, okay? So do me a favor real quick, family. I see 15 people in the chat. If you have not done so already, please do me a huge favor and tap that like button because that triggers the algorithm and lets more people know that we are online, okay? Now, in tonight's live stream, I will be joined by two previous guests, and we will be discussing the latest trending topics, the Pope's ethnicity for one, the latest on Burkina Faso and President Ibrahim Traore. He is trending big time, family, especially among us, right? The tribe. Let me say that because, you know, y'all know how it is, you know. I'm gonna get to that. And has President Donald Trump had enough of Benjamin, aka Beanie Man Netanyahu? Has he had enough of him, y'all? We're gonna talk about that tonight with my guest. And last but not least, y'all, I'm gonna hit y'all with a bonus at the end, like I like to do. Could the East African nation of Kenya be the West's new lifeboat? All right. And y'all are gonna hear when I give you this connection with a certain movie that I watched 16 years ago now. I saw this movie 16 years ago. I rewatched this movie today, and let me tell you something. It's hitting different. It's hitting way different now, y'all. I'm going to tell you about that movie coming up. All right? So, without further ado, let me get I didn't do any changes. Nothing to save. Let me get my guest in here, y'all. Let me get him in here. I saw that. I saw that about President Biden. I definitely saw that. Yeah, David Duke was the governor back then. He was almost the governor back then. So you might be around my age. You might be around my age if you're mentioning him, because he was up in the house, y'all, when I was stationed in Louisiana. He was up in there, and he had an interesting thing that he was saying about where brown folks needed to go. All right. That was very interesting, y'all, back in the day. Which let me bring my guest in, y'all. So let me do this. All right. Let me come here. Let me introduce them properly. Let me introduce my guests properly. Okay. Where am I? Let me bring him in. Let me bring him in because it's my dude, y'all. Let me go ahead and bring him in. All right. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. All right, y'all. First and foremost, this is my brother from another mother. All right. One and only Nate Imhotep Jeter, who, of course, we went to the same high school. He's a year older than me. He attended training. He's into the Kemetic spirituality, the Kemetic spiritual and way of living system. And he attended his training at the Temple of Amun. And he's since started his own Temple of Mayat. Both are located in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And his elder brother, Abdul, is his coordinator of spiritual philosophies at the Temple of Mayat. Let me bring up brother Imhotep Jeter. Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Hotep,
brother. Hotep. And next, y'all, she has quickly turned out to be one of my favorite people on planet Earth, y'all. She started out as a subscriber, and she has since become a friend. So let me introduce none other than my good friend, Bernadette Johnson, age 45, Scorpio, y'all. I'm going to tell you her birthday, but she's a Scorpio, and she's located in South Carolina as well. Bernadette is a reference librarian by day, where she works at an academic library. She has been a librarian for 20 years and enjoys researching and assisting students, professors, and the general public with their research. Bernadette was awakened to the truth of her Israelite heritage in the summer of 2007 and has been on a spiritual quest ever since. Bernadette is also a YouTube content creator and has a YouTube channel called No Hosea 4 and 6. As a YouTuber, it is Bernadette's mission to help awaken her people about their Israelite heritage and their place with the Most High. All right. She's a Scorpio sun and Sag moon, y'all. And I know a little bit about her chart. She's a phenomenal Leo rising as well. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Let me bring her up. I'm going to put her on the spot. Let me bring her on up. What is up, Bernadette?
Oh, good evening, man.
To you, sister. I got to tell y'all about Bernadette real quick. All right. Mm-hmm. Bernadette, let me tell y'all something. As I was, when I was in corporate America, I would drive on average 30 to 45 minutes one way to work every morning. And I listened to a lot of NPR, National Public Radio. I had some of my favorites on there. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something, y'all. Bernadette has a butter smooth voice. Y'all got to listen to her videos. Her videos, listen, she got a butter smooth voice. I don't know. She just got that. I'm going to tell y'all how she got it in a minute. But not only does she have a butter smooth voice, she knows what the heck she's talking about. And y'all know it's a lot of talking heads out here today on these different platforms that's saying a lot, but saying little. You know what I'm saying? That ain't Bernadette. When she coming, y'all heard me read the bio. She's a researcher, and she's a Scorpio on top of that. So y'all know they're going to get the deets. That Scorpio, Virgo, them two signs, they're going to get the deets. But now let me tell y'all about astrology, because y'all know I typically do a little something. I want y'all to learn something when you come here to Maddie's Rap. Bernadette is a Leo rising. You know what I'm sorry. Did I say that right, Bernadette? Leo rising, yes. She's a Leo rising, which means in her third house of communication, she has Libra, all right? Libra, Venusian energy. That makes her third house ruler, Venus. So everybody I know, family, that is a Leo rising has just a beautiful voice, a beautiful melodic voice. You can listen to whether they're a singer or just their speaking voice. They can just kind of just put you in this relaxed state. And that's Bernadette. So I just wanted to give you your flowers, Bernadette. Thank you for joining. Thank you now, so much. Let me do this. I want to begin, y'all, and I'm just going to throw this at both of you all. I want to hear what your thoughts on it. This was not in the program for tonight, but shout out to one of my subscribers. You know who you are. You emailed me some information earlier today, which showed me a top-down perspective of a fire at a certain plantation in a certain location in the state of Louisiana, okay? All right. What is the name of that plantation? One of you guys want to jump in there and tell us what that was? I believe it was not away or something like that. Note away. Let me look that up really quick. If one of you guys, one of you ladies, fellas, one of y'all know, y'all can pop it in the chat, or Bernadette, Nate, feel free to jump in there.
All right.
Let's see. Not away. That was it. Not away. I heard somebody say no away. I wanted to make sure I got it correct, but that's Not Away plantation in Louisiana. What do y'all have any thoughts on that before we get started? Again, that wasn't in the program, but I want to hear about you all, what you guys think, what you heard about it. There's been a couple of social media videos I saw where people were pointing out and spotlighting the form of people, spirits in that fire. Do y'all have any thoughts on that before we get started? Any thoughts?
Oh, I'll let you go first, brother.
Yes. Anybody jump in there?
Yes, I believe that could be the work of the ancestors, because as I've heard it said, the universe never forgets.
Okay.
And they say time is an illusion. So it was probably that time. That's what I've been hearing.
Okay, Bernadette, any thoughts on it?
Yes, I definitely agree. I think the ancestors is in this, and what really tickled me is the memes on Facebook. They have the background of the burning plantation home, and then a picture of a smiling Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, like they're showing the ancestors are rejoicing.
I would agree with you guys. I want to take it a step further, and I'm gonna take a look at the chat there too, because Karen said that the Sinners, the movie was recorded just 10 miles away from the fire. That in and of itself is interesting. Okay, now I didn't see Sinners. I don't know if you all saw it. I got some. You did see it, Nate?
Oh yes.
Okay, I'm gonna come back around to you.
All right.
I want to say this. I told y'all when y'all got to watch these astrological transits. I told y'all that when Neptune left Pisces and entered into Aries, you got the spiritual energy of Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, which is the ruler of the 12th house. And y'all know a lot of astrologers, first of all of these houses have several themes to them. Yeah. Certain astrologers have themes that they favor or themes that they prefer. For me, I look at that 12th house as the bridge between heaven and earth, the bridge between the natural realm and the spiritual realm, the bridge between the current life and the past life. Okay. And so I knew when I looked and saw these other astrologers that do way more tracking of the transits than I do mention that Neptune was getting ready to move into 0 degrees of Aries. Y'all know how I feel about these degrees. 0 degrees is the only degree that belongs to the element of ether. All of the other degrees, the other 29 degrees, go with either fire, water, air, or earth. 0 degree is the only one that belongs to the ether. So when you have a planet moving into that 0 degree, it's coming with ethereal energy. That's direct connect energy, direct connect to source. Okay. Anything can come through when that energy is at 0 degrees. So I told y'all when Neptune enters 0 degrees Aries, Aries is the sign of the warrior. Neptune is the ruler of that spiritual realm, that 12th house bridge. I said, y'all gonna see war coming from the other side. This, in my opinion, was the ancestral revenge. Okay. When you look at what was going on in that Not Away plantation, there was a lot. They basically turned a place of suffering into a place of leisure. And they continued making money off of it. They were making money off of the free labor, brutal rule over the employees who were the unpaid employees. Y'all know I don't even like the word slaves. Okay. The human trafficking victims. And you know what? Everything's about divine timing. Why now? Now, there's one thing I want to look at, but I want to go to you, Nate, first. Tell us what I didn't see Sinners. I didn't see it for a particular reason that I'll come back around to. But tell me what your thoughts were in that film, Sinners, since we mentioned it.
Sinners, that movie was very good, and it takes place. I'm thinking it takes place somewhere after maybe World War II, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but because you see them, the people working in the cotton fields, but they were like sharecroppers though. So it had already ended. And I think I read a bio saying that in the movie that the two brothers were in the military and they had fought in the war. In one of the wars, that's what I'm thinking, maybe around right after World War II. But it seemed like the vampires, they really wanted to get into the club and stuff. But, you know, as vampires, you have to invite them in. And you know who had the, it was a sister, and she had like a mojo bag, and that would block the vampires and stuff, would scare them away. And she made that herself, you know.
Interesting.
And like I say, the vampires, they was playing some type of Christian music and some other type of music. And they told us, no, you can't come in here, because they asked, yeah, can we play along with you or even just come and listen? And they were like, no, this ain't the place for you. But even in that scene of the club, it's like it paid homage to like African music, dance, hip hop, even some African, because they had the Africans from, I don't know which tribe though, but it had them dressed in their, you know, traditional attire and doing a traditional dance.
Interesting.
It was really good. A lot of people has taken a lot, you know, not of good things from that movie.
I've heard more good things about it than negative, Nate. For me personally, when I looked at the trailer early before the movie got released, I go by my internals, and if energetically it's not vibing with me, I can't watch it. And in spite of all of the positive reviews, I just felt like for some reason that wasn't the movie for me to watch. So I've been leaning on listening to other people. One of the things I found interesting was there was someone who shared with me that the movie had some underlying hoodoo themes in it. And I don't knock any of the spiritual systems. I know a lot of people, the West has demonized a lot of these ancient spiritual systems because they could not use them. So, and here's the thing, you guys hear me say this all the time. There's a high vibrational aspect of energy and there's a low vibrational aspect of energy, all of the energies. For example, I'm a Capricorn sun. Y'all know that. Typically what I hear is nothing but positive things about Capricorn suns. But I'm here to tell you, I know some Capricorn suns that blow my mind. I'm like, you can't be a Capricorn. Like, you do not embody the positive energy of Capricorn. So it's the same with everything. I know people that have told me about, it ain't my cup of tea, but I don't knock anybody for what they do, because I understand that the universe is vast and that everything and every person has a purpose. So, but one of these people that explained to me how these systems work told me that there's a lot of use of the Book of Psalms in hoodoo, which blew my mind. I didn't know that. But that being said, what I heard was that they consulted with some real hoodoo priestesses for this movie, and I'm like, just on the off chance that they were possibly, I mean, think about it. It's a film that caters to us, and Hollywood is allowing it to be played. So for me, it was a thing of, just in the event that there's an off chance that they are perhaps putting some spell work and coding it into this film for certain individuals that do not have the capacity to. There's people that you can look at something and it bounce right off you and it ain't nothing to it. And there are other people who absorb energy and then they have to go and transmute it or do a cleanse. I'm like, I'm not trying to absorb nothing and have to go transmute it or ground to do if I don't have to see it. So if somebody tells me it's a good film, I'm going to roll with that. But that being said, the connection with it being 10 miles away from where this fire was and all of this stuff happening at once, you release this film, you got somebody put it in the chat there, bro. I believe that's Karen said, tour girl there. They say the Annabelle doll. I saw an article about that. They said the Annabelle doll was in Louisiana last week and they were moving it around to different locations. And when they did that, things just started going crazy. And then they had these 11 inmates escape from prison. Now, y'all know 11 is a master number and it has to deal with spirituality. So sometimes there's some clues in these things, okay? Now, that being said, if you look at the date that the fire took place, it was on 5/15. I want to show y'all something because I pulled that angel number and I said, let me see if there's any significance to 5/15. Let me share with you guys what I found, okay? This was pretty interesting that this would happen on 5/15. Let me bring it up. Let's see, share screen. Let's go to this window and let's see if you guys can see this. Let me pop back over here. Okay, good. You guys can see that. Angel number 5/15. I'm just going to read that first paragraph there. Let me make it big so we can see it there. Numerology meaning of angel number 515. If you keep seeing the angel number 515 repeatedly, it's a sign from the divine realm that you're about to experience a significant shift in your life. In numerology, angel number 515 is a powerful combination of the energies of number 5 and 1, which indicate that new beginnings, and major transformations are on the horizon. Number 5 resonates with the qualities of adventure, adaptability, and individuality. It also signifies positive changes, personal freedom, and important life lessons. Number 1, on the other hand, represents new beginnings, leadership, assertiveness, and personal development. The appearance of 515 combines the energies of these two numbers, signaling that you need to embrace change and take bold actions in order to manifest positive outcomes. So when you talk about that change energy there, remember again, 5 is the number of activation. So when you talk about that change energy and that happening at 515 during a Neptune and Aries transit, and the number 1 deals with the first house, which is ruled by Aries. Aries is the warrior, the ram, and Neptune. Y'all, come on. There's a lot of unexpected things happening right now. And if I'm not mistaken, Uranus, which is the planet of sudden, unexpected events, is in the sign of Taurus, and we're in Taurus season. So there's a lot happening right now, y'all. A lot happening. I don't think that you can dismiss the timing of that thing. But I've been saying this for a minute, y'all. This is just the beginning. We're talking about the tip of the iceberg. 5. Look at that, Tauro girl. Look at Tauro girl, y'all. She don't play around. She said, wait, 11 inmates and 515 equals 11. 11. Y'all look that master number up and see what that's about. That's the energy of spirituality, all right? Very spiritual number. Very spiritual number. Now, let us move on, y'all. Let us move on. She said, Karen says she's just from the area. Got it. And Basley, you're welcome, bro. You're welcome. My pleasure. Now, let me open up my notes here. Let me say this before we begin, because I know I got all manner of people watching me. This video is for entertainment purposes only, all right? At the end of this live stream, I'm going to tell you exactly why I said it's for entertainment purposes only. Y'all know Matt always going to throw a curveball at y'all, all right? So it is for entertainment purposes only, but I'm going to tell you why the subject matter contained herein is for entertainment purposes only at the end of the video, all right? So as y'all are coming in, again, tap that like button for me. It's going to let more people know that we're online and live in living color. So the Pope is so-called black. The Pope is so-called black. Bernadette, I want to start with you because you did a fantastic video, and I'm going to show a bit of that in just a moment. But I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to throw it to you, Nate, after that. Why announce that now? Why not announce that when they were talking about who some of the front runners were going to be for the new Pope? Why not announce it the day he gets elected? Why now? Give me some thoughts on that.
Okay, well, one of the reasons which I stated in the video was one of the reasons why. Now I just want to be clear. You're saying why make it known that he has black ancestry? That's what.
Yeah. Why now? Why make that known now?
Well, one thing, they love to put things out there to reel us in. And I think that's one reason, because they think time is winding up, and they know we're waking up to who we are. So and a lot of times, and they know for years we have wanted to be included in what they had going on, and the idea that they selected, this is he's such the Pope. I mean, as far as like a religion goes, that's the highest, that's the highest seat in the land. Mm-hmm. Just like with Obama being selected as president, he's biracial, part black. That was another way to put us to sleep, because during that time, 2008, 2007, a lot of us were starting to wake up to who we are, you know, the children of Israel, and becoming more woke and becoming more conscious. In one way, I see the same thing with this Pope. And then also, as I explained in the video, now that some of us are learning that the original ones who held the sacerdotal seat in Rome and the Vatican were Black women, prophetesses, African prophetesses, sibyls. And they know, and of course, they usurp that from the sibyls. And they know that their time is running out. They're going to have to let it go, but they don't want to let it go. So they're doing all they can to try to hold on to it. And maybe they call themselves trying to compromise and say, okay, well, maybe we'll choose someone that has maybe a little bit of Black ancestry and maybe possibly be descendant of the sibyls. Because if you look at this new Pope's, his line where they point his Black ancestry to is his maternal line.
Ooh.
And we know that the sibyls it was a matrilineal.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now it's papal. Then it was matrilineal. So that made me say, that may be something there. So those were my two reasons.
Okay. All right. So, Brother Nate, I want to ask you, because again, you're coming from a different perspective with the ancient Kemetic system, and I want to ask you, first of all, is there much? To what degree do we get any type of interaction from the Vatican or the Catholic Church? I mean, we know that they pretty much govern the three Abrahamic religions, whether people want to agree with that or not. I mean, we know about Christianity and Judaism. People try to pretend that the Pope doesn't govern over Islam, but I'm here to tell you, I've heard some things about the original. Bernadette, did you not cover some of that in your video? She did. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's where I heard that too. And that original Vatican, listen, who was that? No. That was Phil Valentine. I was listening to an episode of Magic 363 earlier yesterday as I was cutting the yard, and Phil Valentine mentioned that I think he said that the first wife of, I don't want to butcher it, but there was like a marriage between one of the early patriarchs of Islam and one of these Roman Catholic women. So anyway, I want to ask you, from your perspective, what do you see with regards to the timing of the announcement that, hey, oh, by the way, the Pope is Black, he has Creole roots, and does any of this you feel like play into the ancient Kemetic spiritual system at all? What talk of that? I'm so detached from it. I learned just enough about it just to kind of be able to have a conversation, but I'm so detached from it. What conversations are taking place in the Temple of Mayat, if any, with regards to this new Pope?
Well, we haven't really talked about it, but I believe when they chose him, I hadn't heard, or I don't think anybody heard too much, about him until, he was selected. Then that put him definitely in the spotlight. So, people, they'll start researching and combing the internet and trying to see who he is, where he come from, what's his background, what's his lineage. So that's kind of very important. But the Pope did say that I'm not Black though, but you got, you come from that lineage though. So I mean, like what was that one brother, comedian Paul Mooney? He was saying, one of his stand-ups, he was saying that as far as the people in dominant society, he said, if you shake their family tree, someone Black gonna fall out.
I remember that. So that's interesting. Now, I got to give you my take on it, and I agree with. I'm looking at the comments as you all were speaking, and Tora Girl says they definitely want us back because most of us left the circus. We give money even if we are hungry. They miss our money. I want to tell you that, and let me go to my notes because I wrote something down with regards to this. Did I put it in the summary? Let me make sure. Let me look, because if I put it in the summary, I don't want to be redundant. But let me just go ahead and say this. I think that, well, you know what? Before I get to it, because I got it, I'm going to order my bullet points. But let me just say this. I agree with Bernadette. I think this is more of the dragnet, if you will, and trying to bring us. I'm coming back. Oh, I got it. I'm gonna come back to it. Before I do that, let me say this. I want to say that I believe there's a connection between Second Esdras 6 and 9 and the Vatican. Okay, I feel like this Pope is yet another puppet for Esau. That's my. And I want to ask y'all watching, those of y'all in the chat, y'all know. First of all, let me say this again. I've said this 1,000 times. I'm gonna say it again. Esau, y'all. I wish the brothers in the Hebrew Israelite camps would get away from this Esau is the white man thing. No. I covered this in a video breaking down the symbolism in the Star Wars saga. For those of y'all that are familiar with the Star Wars movies dating back to the 1970s, okay? When you look at the Star Wars movies, you had these stormtroopers that were dressed in these white metallic uniforms, but their leader was a brother dressed in black, okay? I say a brother because there's some symbolism there, but I also say a brother because it was James Earl Jones, okay? I'm your father, Luke. The same voice from Coming to America, by the way. What is this? Where is my son Akeem? My son what? Same voice, James Earl Jones. So, but if you look at it, the baddest man in the empire, the one who was really running the empire, wore black. Also, when you looked at certain players in the evil empire, they wore black. The only ones that you saw white were the foot soldiers. Wearing white were the foot soldiers. There's a lot of symbolism there, but a lot of times we look at these things as entertainment and we miss the bigger picture. So when I talk about the connection between Second Esdras 6 and 9 and this Vatican, it goes right back to what someone was saying earlier, what Bernadette was saying earlier. They're trying to hold on to power. What is Second Esdras 6 and 9? For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of the world that follows. We're at that cusp. It is flipping, okay? We're in the middle of that flip. It is happening right now. I told y'all the cosmos does not move on a switch. Everything happens gradually and in progression. So they're trying to stem the tide of this new energy coming in and hold on to power. That is why I think you bring a guy forward and say, hey, he's one of you guys. But Nate, you said he came out and said he wasn't black, so I find that surprising. But let me show y'all this video clip. Bernadette, thank you. I'm gonna pull your video up, and I am going to play about 4 minutes of it. I want you guys to see this, and we're going to talk about this, and before we move on to the next subject. So let me bring this up right now. Thank you, Bernadette, for this great work. If y'all have not seen this, y'all need to get on it. Okay, Bernadette is the truth untold. All right, we try to make that truth told. So we don't want to be the truth untold our whole lives. We want to be the truth told. Okay. No, let's see. Dash Hosea 4:6. Let's see. Let's do it like this. Let's bring it up. Okay. Give me a second, y'all. Y'all, my bad. I just realized that I had the microphone muted. The title of the book is The Sibyls, the First Prophetesses of Mommy Water. That's what she's reading from. All right, I'll continue.
And this is what the Sibyl, one of the Sibyls, this was her prophecy regarding the fall of Rome. And it says, in the end, none of Rome's heroic efforts could stave off the inevitable fate of its impending destruction. In a desperate attempt to prevent the inevitable, the papal imperials searched desperately for the unfilled prophecies of the Sibyls, unfulfilled, that's what it should have said, prophecies of the Sibyls concerning Rome's final fate, scrambling aimlessly through the Sibylline oracles, which had by now undergone a total masculinization and Christianization of God. Let me just start right here. When it says masculinization and Christianization, as I had said, the Sibyls once ruled Rome. These were women. So now you see you have a papal Rome where it's ruled by, the papacy. That's father, that's masculine, that's patriarchal. Well, at one time, Rome was matriarchal. So, I show you the pictures of even they had the black popes. Even by then, Rome had became Christianized and turned from matriarchal to patriarchal, even under the black popes. Okay, let's continue. I'll just start with this. I'll read this sentence again. Scrambling aimlessly through the Sibylline oracles, which had by now undergone a total masculinization and Christianization of God, they tripped and stumbled upon a few verses, revealing that the die had already been cast. The divine African mother, who now delighted in prophesying their destruction in her final words, had only this to say. And the next slide are her words, spoken by one of the Sibyls. Thrice 300 years have run their course of fulfillment. Rome, by the strife, her people shall perish. Rome is doomed to perish, and that indeed by the judgment of God, because it held her name in hatred, and being the enemy of righteousness, it destroyed the people who kept the truth. There shall come to thee sometime from above a heavenly stroke deserved, O haughty Rome. And thou shalt be the first to bend thy neck and be razed. This raise is to be destroyed to the ground. And thee shall fire, destructive, utterly consume. Cast down upon thy pavements, and thy wealth shall perish, and wolves and foxes dwell in thy foundations. And then shalt thou be wholly desolate. Now, doesn't this read like the scriptures as it prophesied against maybe Babylon or some other great, civilization in that time? It reads just like the scripture.
All right. Let's get you back. All right. Okay. What's going on here? Hang on. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get this thing down here. I'm gonna get this thing in a minute. Okay. I'm gonna get it in a minute. I don't know why it's tripping like this, but hang on. There we go. All right, there we go. Okay. I'm gonna get the hang of it. I've never had two guests on here at the same time before. But that was Bernadette's video. Y'all go check it out. I will put a link in the description box underneath this video at the end of this video for those of you that want to watch it in its entirety. It is some phenomenal research. Bernadette, are we seeing that prophecy come into fulfillment?
Yes, I believe we are.
So how do you feel this Pope plays into this? Do you feel like this is more of the shenanigans? I don't want to say shenanigans. Do you feel like, obviously, if this is out there in the book, they have to know? You mentioned, tell us who you mentioned this in the video. I don't want to play spoiler too much because I want you all to watch it. But you mentioned in the video that the original controllers or the original rulers, the original governors of the Vatican were who?
the Sibyls, the ancient African prophetesses. And it was also priestesses and even priests and prophets as well. You know, it was women and it was men. But the sacerdotal seat, you know, it was the Sibyls that held that sacerdotal seat. They were the absolute moral authority, like how the Pope is the so-called moral authority of the West. Well, in that time, the Sibyls were the moral authority. You had great world rulers of that time coming to them for guidance and for and seeking their, you know, great wisdom. Because if you look up the word Sibyl in Hebrew, there's you know, it also is a Hebrew word. And that SIB, you know, that means, you know, it's gray, but it also means that gray hair stands for wisdom, divine counsel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it means. And then that YL is also Hebrew title for, you know, for another title for God.
Right,
You know,
right.
the almighty power. So that's saying this divine wisdom, the wisdom of God. There you have it.
Wow. So it's interesting now when you take that into consideration and you look at the prophecy that they wrote that was uttered by them years ago, and everything that has been endured by the divine feminine wisdom during the period from the fall of I don't like to use the word fall because I feel like everything has a divine purpose. Sometimes the Most High will allow you to just accumulate karma. Because if you want to look at karma as a 2-for-1 payback, which we know is greater than that, you always get, they say double for your trouble, but we know it's more than that, right? So you get double for your trouble if you're the endurer of trouble or if you're the causer of trouble. You're gonna get double for that. So I have to wonder personally, do they think they're playing the universe by putting someone whose maternal lineage is Creole in the seat of the church?
Absolutely.
But I also mentioned something 2 years ago, and not years ago, months ago, when I did that video talking about Denzel Washington becoming ordained, receiving his ordination from the Kojic International. They see this, in my opinion, this great falling away. All right. And they're seeing, let me read it the way I wrote it, because I said I wanted to come back after your video. I wrote, are they trying to appease the spirit of the Most High by selecting a so-called black pope? Or are they trying to mend the holes in the net of Western religion, holes that are so big that their prize catch, which is the celestial incarnate sons and daughters of the Most High Creator, the sons and daughters of the royal priesthood, all right? Those holes in that net are causing that biggest catch to slip through. So in my opinion, I think they're trying to mend that and bring the source, the batteries that power Christianity, Judaism, and Islam back underneath the church. Y'all are the batteries. A lot of y'all watching this, we don't even realize how powerful melanin is. And I don't say that to be divisive. Melanin is a very powerful molecule. All right. It blew my mind years ago when I was watching a young brother on Facebook Live talking about how melanin carries a higher per ounce price than gold does. That blew my mind. Why did it blow my mind? Number one, I didn't know it was marketable. Okay. Number two, the only way to extract melanin is from a cadaver. You can't donate it. So when you start putting 2 and 2 together, it starts making you wonder about these different mishaps in certain communities and why it's okay for certain people to enact violence upon each other. And anyway, I'm not going to go down that path. Any final thoughts from y'all on this so-called black pope who Nate says he's not black before we move on to the next topic? What's up, Allie Rue?
Yes, but one thing I did want to say also in regard to the fall, the destruction of Rome and all of that, the prophecy, and as far as them bringing this so-called, pope with black ancestry, it could be their last ditch effort to try and compromise with the universe, so to speak, to stay in power.
Yeah, we're right there. We're right there. As if you can, it's funny. I was having a conversation with my dad a couple of days ago, and we were just talking about the state of the world. And one of the things he said to me, he said, well, son, time is running out. Folks need to start repenting. Folks better repent. I said, Dad, I think that ship already left port. I think it already set sail. Like, you can't, What the scripture says, be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever man sows, that shall he also reap. That is a universal principle. That's a universal law. That has nothing to do with religion. If you drop an orange seed in fertile soil, it's going to grow an orange tree. You can't get apples off an orange tree from a seed, from a tree that was the offspring of a seed that came from oranges. So you can't plant a watermelon seed in the ground and eat cucumbers off that vine. It doesn't work that way. So you got to pay. You can say sorry, but I'm here to tell you as a personal example. When I was little, and I mean, you know, 5 boys and 1 girl. The boys, we did our thing. We did stuff we weren't supposed to do. We were disobedient. We broke stuff in the house when we were told not to be wrestling, and we in there trying to throw each other into the ropes and flip and mess around one time and broke a glass coffee table, all kind of just being rough and tumble. You can say, Daddy, I'm sorry. But the question coming after that is, didn't I tell y'all not to be playing that wrestling in the house? I really didn't want y'all watching it because I know how y'all act. But I told y'all not to be playing no wrestling in the house. What happened? Well, Daddy, I grabbed Derek by his arm and I did him like this and pulled him back and threw him. And then he ran to the wall like he bounced off the rope. And then he came back and then I ducked down and I accidentally flipped him over my back and he accidentally landed on the glass coffee table and broke it. Okay. Well, now I'm going to accidentally get my butt and accidentally whip your behind. So you can say sorry, but you got to catch that fade. You got to get paid for what you did, good or bad. Karma don't miss nobody. All karma is the universal comptroller. She is going to pay you what you are due. So they can try to appease the spirits by putting, who are you trying to appease, first of all? Like, are you fooling the universe that sees all and records all? But, well, hey, no, don't destroy us. We put a black person, and he don't have to claim it. We know he is. Look, here's his ancestry. He's running the church now. Save us. Dad, I'm going to say it again. I know he don't watch my videos, but it is what it is. That ship already left water. Ain't no repenting at this point. You can repent, but you still got to get that whooping. Okay? All right? So, Workout Junkie said facts. She said facts. So, let's do this, y'all. Let's switch up topics here. And I want to talk about brother Ibrahim Traore. He's trending in the news, y'all. First of all, put it. Let us know in the chat if you don't know who he is. I mean, he's been all over the news, and I don't watch the news. I get my news from social media, believe it or not. I get my news from social media, or I might see a headline pop up in the news app on my phone, and it might be worth my looking at. But I don't sit there and watch mainstream media like I used to. Anybody that does, I'd like to know why. Like, it's all negative. Like, it's all low vibrational. But Ibrahim Traore, president of Burkina Faso. Why does the West want Traore gone? Why do they want him gone? Anybody? Any thoughts? Anybody want to jump in first? Nate?
I believe that they scared, that the West is scared. And I guess, the Europeans too, they were scared that he might, start really influence all these other African countries to follow him or to get on board and, hey, let's unite. Let's work this, together. Let's not have, borders and stuff. And, let's get under a currency, like Gaddafi and stuff.
I was just about to ask you who did that first and what happened to him.
Yes. Or it can be like another Patrice Lumumba or Idi Amin, and what happened to all them.
Right.
But I believe, me, having, ancestry, to Africa, I'm American and, stuff like that. But with African industry, I would just like to see these countries, especially America, give the African countries the fair market price for their goods and services. I mean, simple as that. Just a fair market price.
I got a couple of videos I want to play just to bring people up to speed, because some people aren't up on it. Dynamic leader, young. He's young. He's very young, and very about his people. He came up through the ranks. He wasn't part of any wealthy family or anything like that. I want to play a couple of his videos or a couple of videos talking about him. So give me just a moment. I'm going to bring those up on the screen, and we're going to talk about that. I want you guys to see who he is and what he stands for. So or just hear his take on it. So give me just a moment. I'm going to share this to the screen. Thank y'all for watching, by the way. All righty, let's start by let's see, video file. All right, I got 3 videos here. I think I'm going to actually, and I got some breaking news I'm going to talk about with Traore in Burkina Faso in just a moment. But let me start with this.
And the part that hurt me the most, not because he's a general or because he's American or anything like that, but because he's black. And it really hurts to see a black man being used to fight against another black man. And this didn't start just now. It has to stop. You see, it's very dangerous. Even Libya, who destroyed Libya? Once again, they used a black man. In movies back in the day, in America, black people always played the bad guy. We told ourselves, it's just in the movies. But why do black people have to keep playing the bad guy? And I think that if he heard this interview, he should look at himself in the mirror, feel ashamed, come out and say, well, I was given a false report. I regret it. He needs to say it publicly. If it was a false report, then it was made, because it's possible. It's possible that he was given a false report.
Alrighty, let me take that off the screen. And I want to show you one more. I actually kind of showed that one out of order, but sometimes things happen for a reason. We think we're doing it out of order, and we actually are right there. Let me play what this sister had to say about it. Let's bring this one up.
Ibrahim Traore curved Trump's invite. I feel like nobody's talking about it. Like, this is what it truly means. This is what it truly looks like when you stand.
Now, Trump invited him to the White House. And he was like, nah, we ain't finna do that. We're not finna do that. So I just wanted to tell you what she was referring to. Let me back it up.
The way Ibrahim Traore curved Trump's invite, I feel like nobody's talking about it. Like, this is what it truly means. This is what it truly looks like when you stand on business, when you really are in rulership for your people and you're not doing things just for the money or just for the clout. Because this man is literally making Burkina Faso very self-sufficient, okay? They're making their own everything, okay? They are in control of the gold that comes out of their country. He literally wiped all of the school debt, all of it. And this man is doing this all while still living on his original pay of a soldier, not as the president. Because Ibrahim Traore says, gone are the days where Africa has all the riches and all the resources and they are literally not gaining anything from it. How sad is that? And an even bigger show of his loyalty is that he is only doing meetings and he's only talking to and making deals with people who are not the West. So when Trump invited him to have a meeting, he declined it. He didn't go. He didn't show up. So of course now the West has to paint him as this super bad guy who is only in for self-gain, when literally everything that he's done thus far has been for the wealth and the gain of his people. All I know is y'all better protect this man, because what he's doing is revolutionary, and what he stands for is going to influence so many other black men to truly just step up and live in their purpose. Because right now, that is a true example of a protector and a provider. and a man of humility, living and moving with no fear.
Nate, can you blame him for turning down that invitation to the White House, and why? Why or why not?
No. Now this is what I thought about when I heard that. It made me think about Dessalines, from Haiti, and how he went to France and he was never seen again. So that's what it made me think of that. I was like, okay, no, we don't need that to happen to him. I believe, I don't know, maybe it's a trap. Good
point. Good point. He's not stupid. He didn't get to where he is being stupid. Now I'm going to say this, and I'm gonna come to you, Bernadette. For those of you who don't know, when Ibrahim Traore first came into office, the first thing he did was he kicked the French out of his country. He said, "Take your military and get up out of here." And then he did the same thing to the United States. I do not want your military in my country. He did the same thing with Niger. Not him. I'm sorry. The president of Niger did the exact same thing. So you got two young and I don't mean radical in the negative sense that the Western media puts the spin on. I'm talking about radical as in a Uranian or an Aquarian sense. Like, hey, listen, what has been going on here since you guys allowed us to become a country in 1940, whatever, 50, whatever, or 60, whatever, y'all have been pretty much robbing us of our mineral resources, making money off of it, and then loaning us money off what you made off of our resources. So y'all got to go. It's a new day. And they don't like it. They don't like it. This brother right here, and I'm gonna read something, y'all. I got some scripture for this one because I'm gonna show y'all how all of this stuff ties together. When you come on Maddie's Rap, I'm gonna show y'all the scriptural link because my whole platform is about showing you that the Bible and the ancient text from which it was derived are not religious; they're spiritual. And a lot of the narrative of the Bible, this is why I have Nate on here. A lot of the narrative is actually earlier than they credit it for, and a lot of the same principles can be found in the ancient Kemetic writings. Okay, so that entire region. So now, Bernadette, I want to hear from a sister's perspective. What are your thoughts on Ibrahim Traore and the way he's moving over there on the African continent right now?
2 words: pride and joy. When I saw that, I said, this is Africa rising, because Gaddafi, he tried to do, but it wasn't the time yet. And it just still breaks my heart to, about what happened to Gaddafi, because he was trying to start an African currency. And they were not going to have that, because Africa has, all the resources and everything. That would have put all the power into their hands. The West wasn't trying to have, they weren't trying to have that. Right. But when I see this Traore, I'm like, time is more ripe for Africa to rise. And I just see him as this great, strong, powerful leader. And I also see how even the Americans, the Black Americans, are supporting him and backing him. And then they have this, what is he under Trump, this Black general?
Yes.
How he's being assigned. I just see him as a puppet being used, to come against another Black man like that. And like what Traore said in the video, it hurts. It hurts to see that, because a lot of Black Americans, they're really behind Traore. And it just makes me proud.
Same here. Let me ask y'all, why do y'all think that why not use we got a number of generals in the military, and the so-called Black top brass in the military makes up a microfine percentage of the brass across the military. Nate, you in the military, you know that. How many brothers are there that are admirals? You know what I mean? So
right,
you don't see a lot of top brass in the military that are melanated. So why do y'all think that of all of these, why would they send a brother in there? Why brother?
Sure, I believe me myself. I believe that, they think that someone black would have a more connection with someone else black, or they probably like, hey, go talk to your boy,
Mm.
go, see what he's doing. Come on, go holler at your boy. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a story I want to share with y'all, and then I'm gonna read some scripture. By the way, and that was why I brought that. I know I said it played it out of order, but that brother right there, in my opinion, this is more of what we saw in the past. Okay, because let me give you my thoughts on my overall umbrella thoughts on why they don't want Traore in there and why they got a brother in there. Okay. If you look back in the if you look back, a couple hundred years ago during slavery, what they would do is they would give that whip to Sambo. They would give that whip to Sam. And y'all, listen, if you're watching this, you got to know Uncle Tom. When you're calling somebody Uncle Tom, you're giving them a compliment. That's not an insult. If you read Uncle Tom's Cabin, you know who Tom was. Tom was a stand-up dude. Tom rode for his people. He did the best he could. Sambo was the one, okay? He was the one. So what would Massa do? He would get Sambo to go and deliver that beating at his behest. Why? Because then it takes the focus off Massa, and then you looking, it's divide and conquer. You beat me. You my own brother, and you beat me. Why? So he can give you, now you can go eat with him. You can go sit. This is the slavery playbook, rinse and repeat, if you ask me. Now, when I was in the Army, I don't know if I've told you guys this story before, but when I was in the Army, there was this day, me and my roommate, shout out to you, El Gato. I won't say his last name on here because I don't know, who knows who or whatever. But El Gato was his nickname we used to give him. So Spanish cat, but that was my dude, my roommate. We out here in Fort Polk, Louisiana. And I don't know how you guys do it in the Navy, Nate, because I don't know how to rank it. Well, I would assume you guys do it the same way. The military is the military. So you got your customs and traditions and across all branches of the military. When you're enlisted and you see an officer, you salute. Okay, when you're walking past them. So we're leaving the barracks area and we're walking toward the shopette, right? Now, as we're walking toward the shopette, there's a crosswalk. So we got this brother. All we see is a white guy and a brother coming across, so-called white. Y'all don't like the color thing, but whatever. It is what it is. You got this white officer. Now, we don't know he's an officer at the time. He's coming across here. We see a white guy and a brother, and we're going this way, we're going that way, and we're talking. So we just, they're, perpendicular to us. So the rank is displayed up here on the column, on the collar. Back when I was in the military, I don't know how they do it now, but in the BDUs, when BDUs, the rank is displayed on the collar and on the hat. So if somebody's at a 90-degree angle from you and you're having a conversation, you can't necessarily see that. And here's the thing: the NCO was walking to the right of the officer, so there was no way we could have seen his insignia on his collar or his hat because he is flanked to his right. So if we're coming at you this way and you got two people going this way, the person on the left is the officer. We can't see his rank or anything. All we see is this sergeant. So we walking and we talking. No big deal. So we get past them and we hear, wait a minute. So we stop, we turn around and no, I'm sorry. Let me back up. We're walking and we hear, hey guys, whatever happened to above the rest? There was this thing we said in our unit. We said that we would say above the rest when we saw an officer, and so we'd see him. We say that and salute him. So if we saw an officer, above the rest, sir, and they would return the salute, combat ready, and we keep on moving. We didn't see him, so we get past and we hear, hey guys, whatever happened to above the rest? So we immediately snap to attention. Sorry, sir, we didn't see your rank. Above the rest, sir. He says, combat ready, carry on. And we turn around and walk away. The brother, wait a minute, get back over here. So we turn around. Now, Jay Spanish, I'm a brother. So, I'm already a little bit offended, right? Because I'm like, oh, here we go. So he want to play stepping and fetching. He want to tap dance and, for Massa, right? So get a parade rest. I'm like, okay, all right. So we stay at a parade rest. Didn't y'all see that officer right there, huh? Didn't y'all see him? And so Jay, he's like, Jay a little bit nervous. He's like, I said, Sergeant, the captain already corrected us, Sergeant. He could tell by my tone of voice, I was like, the captain already corrected us. All right. So he was like, all right, y'all carry on. And I look over my shoulder at him, and he looking up at the officer like, I got him for you, sir. I got him, boss. I got him. And I'm like, man. So it's always somebody trying to impress him. Now, the officer had already corrected us. He said, combat ready, carry on, guys. So we going on to the shopette. Brother want to stop somebody. We take 2-3 more paces. He want to stop somebody and show out. All right, cool. So I think this is a little bit kind of more of that too. Now, I don't think General volunteered for that, but in my opinion, you are a general. You have the ability to, if you don't like something, you've been a general that long. When you're a general officer, if you don't like the direction that the leadership is going in, you can resign. I'm just saying. But they always know who they can go to. Now, let me do this because I want to show y'all this link now. I'm going to told you I'm going to bring in some scripture, and I'm getting ready to blow y'all mind with this one, all right? So, I wrote in my notes, it would benefit Traore to read the books of the Maccabees, okay? It would benefit him to read the books of the Maccabees. Now, so let's see. Could the Trump administration be doing an end around on okay. So I played the video I wanted y'all to see. I'm gonna come back to the book of the Maccabees in a minute. I'm gonna finish up with that part because it is very, I got some very powerful scriptures that I think, you know what they say, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. Now, let me ask the question here to my panelists. Could the Trump administration be doing an end around on Traore, who is aligning with China and Russia by locking arms with the Saudis? Because I don't know if y'all seen the video, if y'all know what's going on, but Trump he went over and did this little Middle East summit or whatever, and he seemed to be like, quote unquote, making deal. I'm making a deal. I'm making deals. I'm ending wars. I'm making deals. He's making some sort of deal with the Saudis or whatever. Do y'all feel like he's doing, or to what degree do you guys think that he's doing an end around with because remember, Traore, he just signed some sort of protection agreement. I don't know if he signed it or whatever, but Russia, Putin, and then Xi Jinping or whatever his name is in China, they were like, hey, yo, we got your back. Don't worry about, we know that these people are trying to make attempts on your life. We know that they're using some of your own people to try to take you out and do a coup. Do y'all feel like part of what Donald Trump is doing with this new Middle East alliance is trying to do an end around on Traore? Because I'm going to come back to that. They got a lot of gold and a lot of precious minerals in Burkina Faso, and these folks want it. And he's like, nah, gone are the days of y'all eating off of our minerals, and our kids are poor, and we can't even eat off of them. Do y'all feel like, to what degree do y'all think maybe Trump might be doing an end around by making an alliance with the Saudis with regards to what Traore is doing with China and Russia? And do you have any thoughts on that? Nate, I'm gonna go with you first, Nate.
Well, I know he did that Middle East tour for something. He got something in the works. Now, I'm not sure if he'll do a end around to Burkina Faso, but I know he has taken the sanctions off of Syria, haven't he?
Mm-hmm.
I believe I was reading that. And it was something else he was trying to do. Well, he brokered that peace, between what was that? Between India and
Pakistan.
Yeah. Yes, he claimed that too. We haven't done much in Ukraine though. But I know I was always saying that with Russia and China trying to get into Burkina Faso, but I was saying that where the United States is messing up, I believe they trying to get something for nothing. But
what do you mean by that?
Like they're trying to steal or coerce them into say, hey, well, we can put some troops over there. Let us put a base over there. Let us give your people some food and medical supplies, and you just give us all these resources. But China and Russia, they are putting out. It's like, okay, this is what we really gonna do. Some real tangibles, like roads and stuff like that. And I know, you know, the president over there, Burkina Faso, I believe he is trickling that money down, trickling the stuff down to his people by, you know, building the schools, the hospitals, and things, you know, where some other countries would say, you know, okay, we could build you some churches. Like, no, they don't need any more churches.
Bernadette, have we seen similar activity to what is being offered to Burkina Faso and other places? Like, you know, hey, well, let us come and build schools. Let us do this for you if you do something for us. Have we seen that before anywhere else? Jamaica, perhaps, you know, with some of these same players?
Well, they wasn't.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Were you asking me or?
Yeah. No, Bernadette, I just wanted to throw that your way.
Oh, okay. So you were saying have the West offered that to other countries?
Yeah. Well, have we seen some of the same things? Like, okay, for example, again, Nate says that he feels like, you know, maybe France and America are trying to get something for nothing, but the Russians and the Chinese are saying, well, hey, we'll come in here, we'll build schools, we'll build roads, things of that nature. Have we seen this sort of playbook in the past?
Rome. I would say Rome. Building aqueducts and roads. You know, all roads lead to Rome. History is repeating itself.
This is why I got this magnificent historian and researcher on here, y'all. You are exactly right. And I'm glad you said that, Bernadette, because that's a great segue into a couple of passages of scripture where I said it would benefit him to do this. Now, when you look at China did what, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but what China did in Jamaica is they gave them some cash in order to take control of the ports. So the Chinese are running the shipping ports in Jamaica now. I learned about this last year. I'm like, for money now. So you just gave a foreign country, and on top of that, I heard this interesting report that China is sending men over there to impregnate the women of these countries. And of course, now because you got that child that's born there, well, your daddy is from China, so now he's got rights to purchase hold on to land.
That's right. That's what Dr. Umar had been saying for a couple of years now.
Right.
You know, making some of them chiefs in some of the African countries, you know, tribes and stuff, make them a chief, so they have a connection to that country.
Right. So I don't know. I'm watching this whole thing because I know that Russia and China have been on the US's like SH list, so to speak. And with Traore saying, hey, look, I don't want you French in here anymore. I don't want America in here. You got Trump over here doing these deals. He invites Traore to the White House. He says, nah, we ain't about to do that. We ain't about that life or whatever. And now he's locking arms with the Saudis. And while he's locking arms with the Saudis, he's snubbing Benjamin Netanyahu, which we're going to get to in a minute. But let me show you guys something here. And this is why I put in my notes, it would benefit Traore to read these ancient passages of scripture. This has nothing to do with religion, y'all. Check this out. I'm going to share this to the screen. I'm going to give you guys some references here. We're going to start with First Maccabees, the 8th chapter. First Maccabees, the 8th chapter. And this is to your point, Bernadette. So let me bring this up on the screen. This is, y'all, these are some interesting times we're living in. Very interesting times. This is why I call this video Prophecy Watch, okay? Let me share this to the screen. All right. This is First Maccabees chapter 8. Let me make sure it's being displayed on the screen there. You guys can see it. Good. Okay. Now Judas had, now y'all got to understand what's happening here in the books of the Maccabees. Y'all, if y'all don't know the stories of the Maccabees, you can read this. This is in any version of the Bible that has the Apocrypha. You can read this. This is, you know, the first time I read Maccabees first Maccabees chapter 1, it blew my mind that it actually mentioned a historical figure. And I'm like, is this part of the reason why they left certain books out of the Bible? Because they try to treat the Bible like it's all allegorical. But then when you read, let me just go there to show y'all, because y'all know what I always say. I can show you better than I can tell you. I'm gonna come back to First Maccabees 8, but look at this, 1:1, or First Maccabees chapter 1, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam, has smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. All right, who are they talking about? Alexander the Great. That blew my mind. I was like, they got Alexander the Great in scripture, but they hid that from us. There's no wonder they hid that book from us, because they've been putting forth this lie for how long about separation of church and state, when there is no separation. They try to treat the Bible like it's a religious book when it's chock full of history. See, if they show you that book, then now you can't look at the Old Testament like it's stuff that didn't happen. You got to start looking at the rest of it like, well, how much more of this is history versus allegory? So anyway, now moving on to chapter 8. Now Judas had heard of the Romans. Remember what happened after that. Let me catch y'all up. The Greeks, in their conquest, they decided that they wanted the Levant, which is the area between Syria on down through modern day Israel, or the Canaan land, down to Egypt. And we know that they had already kind of conquered Alexandria without putting up much of a fight at all. We know the history there. So anyway, nobody wanted any smoke with the Greeks, but the men of Judah was like, nah, y'all ain't about to come through here and run nothing. So anyway, here's where I'm going to pick up. Chapter 8. Now the Maccabees led a revolt. There were some Hebrews that had money, so they were able to basically arm the population of men who wanted to fight. They didn't have a standing army, but they had enough money to say, hey, y'all, look, they had money and military prowess. So they were like, look, we can get these people out of our country. God has always fought for us. He's always fought for us. This ain't going to be no different. If we just show some courage and stand before our enemies, he's going to deliver our enemies into our hands. And it so happened that they defeated the Greeks. And that made the rest of the world stand up like, who are these cats that just beat the Greeks, who just been beating everybody down? But these cats kicked the Greeks out of their country. Now, here's what we pick up in chapter 8. Now, Judas had heard of the Romans. This is for Traore, okay? This is what he might want to read this. Now, Judas had heard of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with all that came into them, and that they were men of great valor. It was told him also of their wars and noble acts, which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute, and what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of the silver and the gold which is there, and that by their policy and patience they had conquered all the place, though it were very far from them, and the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, till they had discomfited them and given them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year. Beside this, how they had discomfited in battle Philip and Perseus, king of the Chittims, with others that had lifted up themselves against them and had overcome them. How also Antiochus, the great king of Asia, that came against them in battle, having 120 elephants with horsemen and chariots, and a very great army, was discomfited by them. And how they took him alive and covenanted that he and such as reigned after him should pay a great tribute and give hostages, and that which was agreed upon. And the country of India and Media and Lydia, and of the goodliest countries, which they took of him and gave to King Eumenes. Moreover, how the Grecians had determined to come and destroy them, and that they, having knowledge thereof, sent against them a certain captain, and fighting with them, slew many of them, and carried away captives their wives and their children, and spoiled them, and took possession of their lands, and pulled down their strongholds, and brought them to be their servants unto this day. I told y'all, when they go to war in the ancient times, when they would go to war with these countries that had something they wanted, they kill the men, enslave them, and they take the women and impregnate them. That was mental slavery. They knew, hey, look, if I produce children here, these are now my offspring, and these mothers, they're gonna have a little bit of softness toward me, because even though they hated my guts, I fathered their children, and the children might grow up and say, what happened to my daddy? Just putting that out there. This is what they do. That's nothing new. They've been doing this for thousands of years. Kill the men, impregnate the women, and you take over the land. That's kind of what's happening around the world now with some of these other countries that want a foothold in some of these locales. Let me keep moving. I'm gonna read that again. And that they, having knowledge thereof, sent against them a certain captain, and fighting with them, slew many of them, and carried away captives their wives and their children, and spoiled them, and took possessions of their lands, and pulled down their strongholds, and brought them to be their servants unto this day. When it says spoiling, he ain't saying spoiling them like I'm gonna buy them whatever they want. No, they made them a spoils of war. Verse 11, it was told him besides how they destroyed and brought under their dominion all other kingdoms and isles that at any time resisted them. He's talking about the Romans. But with their friends and such as relied upon them, they kept amity, and that they had conquered kingdoms both far and nigh, insomuch as all that heard of their name were afraid of them. Also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign, and whom again they displace. Finally, that they were greatly exalted. So they basically saying how the Romans put in charge who they wanted to put in charge. Hence, Herod and the Herodian dynasty of ancient Judah. They were set up by the Romans. Same deal. They did it everywhere. Hey, look, you give us what we want, we'll let you be in charge of your own people. We don't want to rule over them. We'll let you be in charge. But you ain't in power anymore. That's what they're saying here. Okay, verse 14. Yet for all this, none of them wore a crown or was clothed in purple to be magnified thereby. Moreover, how that they had made for themselves a Senate house, wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting always for the people, to the end they might be well ordered. Ancient Senate, Congress, Senate, okay, House of Representatives, same deal, y'all. We live in Rome, okay? This is the new Rome. Verse 16, and that they committed their government to one man every year, who ruled over all their country, and that all were obedient to that one. Can you say president? In that case, it was the emperor, but can you say president? And that there was neither envy nor emulation among them. Verse 17, in consideration of these things, Judas chose Eupolemus, the son of John, the son of Achos, and Jason, the son of Eleazar, and sent them to Rome to make a league of amity and confederacy with them, and to entreat them that they would take the yoke from them, for they saw that the kingdom of the Grecians did oppress Israel with servitude. They went therefore to Rome, which was a very great journey, and came into the Senate, where they spake and said, Judas Maccabeus with his brethren and the people of the Jews have sent us unto you to make a confederacy and peace with you, and that we might be registered your confederates and friends. So that matter pleased the Romans well. And this is the copy of the epistle or letter which the Senate wrote back again in tables of brass and sent to Jerusalem. They wanted to make sure could nobody destroy it, so they wrote it in brass, that there they might have them by a memorial of peace and confederacy. They wanted to make sure it was remembered. Good success be to the Romans and to the people of the Jews by sea and by land forever. The sword also an enemy be far from them. If there come first any war upon the Romans or any of their confederates throughout all their dominion, the people of the Jews shall help them, as the time shall be appointed with all their heart. Neither shall they give anything unto them that make war upon them, or aid them with victuals, food, weapons, money, or ships, as it hath seemed good unto the Romans. But they shall keep their covenants without taking anything therefore. In the same manner also, if war come first upon the nation of the Jews, the Romans shall help them with all their heart, according as the time shall be appointed them. Neither shall victuals be given to them that take part against them, or weapons, or money, or ships, as it hath seemed good to the Romans. but they shall keep their covenants, and that without deceit. According to these articles, did the Romans make a covenant with the people of the Jews? Howbeit hereafter, the one party or the other shall think to meet, to add or diminish anything, they may do it at their pleasures. And whatsoever they shall add or take away shall be ratified. And as touching the evils that Demetrius doeth to the Jews, we have written unto him, saying, wherefore thou made thy yoke heavy upon our friends, or why did you make your yoke heavy upon our friends and confederates the Jews? If therefore they complain any more against thee, we will do them justice and fight with thee by sea or land. They never had another problem with the Greeks after that. The Greeks didn't come back once they allied themselves with the Romans. Now, fast forward to 2025, and you have a similar setup with Ibrahim Traore. Remember, the Hebrews went to the Romans. The Romans didn't come to them. They said, hey, man, look, if we go make a deal, man, can't nobody beat these Romans, man. I mean, these guys is tough. If we go make a deal with them, then the Greeks ain't gonna bother us anymore. Now, look at who is been trying to get Ibrahim Traore out of office. The French, with they punk ass, ain't never won no war since Napoleon got beat, okay? And then the Americans, okay? How you align yourself with, wait a minute, did we go and rescue France from the Germans, or did the Germans, or did the French come rescue America from the, all right, I was just asking for a friend. I ain't know, I was just asking for a friend. But anyway, so I wanted to put that out there because if you think about it, if you know the rest of the history, who's running that land right now that used to be occupied by the Hebrews? Not the Hebrews. So you see what happened? I wanted to bring that up for historical reference. When we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. He went and made a confederacy with the Romans for protection, and a couple of 300 years later or so, the Romans ended up being the ones that drove them off of their own land and took control of it. The Romans' offspring are still running that land today. Okay. Now they had these holy wars. They went back and forth after that land hadn't been at rest since the Hebrews got kicked off in 70 AD. They've been back and forth with it. But the very people that you see back there now are the offspring of the Romans. They're not the Hebrews that of the Bible that they claim to be. But now I'm going to show you again, because again, this is a history book. This is going to blow y'all mind. Let me show you these other passages of scripture, because I want to read from you now, or read for you now, when we talk about what happened there with the ancient Hebrews and the Romans. This whole thing, when you asked Matt, you asked Bernadette, and you asked Nate, what were their thoughts on why the West wants Traore gone? I'm going to agree with you guys' points and say this. This to me sounds a lot like the reason they want him out of there, the reason why America wants him out of there, the reason why the French want him out of there. Well, let's rewind the tape to 2017 when Colin Kaepernick was doing all of these NFL protests and the flag protests and everything. What did then owner of the Houston Texans, I think his name was Bob McNair, I think it was, what did he say? He said, well, we can't have the inmates running the prison, right? So basically what he was saying is, we can't have, even though these people right here are the reason why the NFL is a multi-million or billion-dollar enterprise, 70% quote unquote black players, okay, with a much smaller percentage of head coaches and 0% majority owners that are so-called black. Well, we can't have these 70% running we can't have these inmates running the prison. That is the mentality I feel like the West has toward Traore, because it's like, hey, if we allow this guy to continue to stand up, then we will no longer get any milk. Y'all know what it look like when all them puppies coming up to that mother to get that milk. Okay, the puppies are Europe, and they're like, hey, if we let this one right here shut off the milk flow, then none of us gonna get any milk. Okay, and there's this old saying that certain people need. Well, let me put it in these terms. The pimp needs the prostitute to need him. Why did I bring that example up? Years ago, when I was working in corporate America, I had an account in Hawaii. So we get off work and we go back to the hotel, put our stuff down, put our laptops away, whatever. And then we would walk to dinner, whatever. Me and the guys that I would go travel with, my group. And I remember this one night, there was one guy, I'm not going to say his name. He's a Caucasian brother. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know who watches these videos. But he and I were walking to the restaurant, and this woman, she approaches both of us and gives us a business card. Now she's after him. Now she's looking at me. She's like, well, I don't want you to feel bad. I'm like, I don't want you. But anyway, trust me, I don't want you. Not at all. Not even, no, I don't want you. Get now here. You give him the card. But the interesting thing was me, y'all know, Matt, I'm having a conversation with anybody. I'm like, whoa, this is different. Like, you out here doing this. Usually the women, I'm looking around. I'm like, where's your pimp? She's like, I don't have a pimp. She said, I do this for myself. She said, years ago, I learned that I'm the one that's taking this, engaging in this activity. Why is somebody else getting the money to quote unquote protect me, and they giving me a percentage of what I'm earning? So she was like, I can make enough money of my own to hire my own security. So she's like, they know my name on this block because I got people watching me while I'm out here, and they don't know who's watching me, and they don't want to get dealt with, so they don't bother me. So she took her own money, paid for her own personal security, and she put herself out there and kept all of the money. The only thing she was investing in was her security. That's it. And I'm like, the thing is, if you think about it, that pimp needs that prostitute to need him and be afraid of him. When you ain't afraid of him, now you can't, this one right here, you can't make no money off of her. And she actually was nice looking. She was dressed nice. She didn't look like the other quote unquote streetwalkers. She looked like a regular person. I'm like, wow. And that was very interesting to hear this, her explain this, because I was just like, this is very different. You walk in by yourself and ain't nobody. Nah, she's like, nah, don't look around. Ain't no pimp out here. She said, but I got security. She said, don't nobody bother me. It's the same way. That so-called prostitute, Rahab, let me say Rahab had the goods. The pimp who ain't doing Rahab's work needs Rahab so he can eat off that. In the same case, Africa got the goods, but they need these leaders to allow them to manage it. How you gonna make money off somebody and then make them borrow the money that they making off your soil when they ain't got no resources? So that's what's going on over there. But I wanted to throw that in there and give you guys that example of why I think they want them out of there. Quote unquote, you can't have the inmates running the prison, so to speak. It's the same thing they do it, the same thing they did that we saw in the NFL draft with the Sanders family. Okay, well, even though that we know that Shedeur Sanders is a first-round quarterback, we got to make an example out of him, because if he gets to do what the Mannings did for Eli Manning, well, then we're done. Like this gonna be the NIL all over again, and they're gonna be getting this money, and these agents can't eat. And these owners got to deal directly with, nah, we ain't about to do that. We're going to make an example out of him so that nobody else, it's the whole buck breaking thing. So I think the West wants him out of there so that they can do another buck breaking like they did with, whether you like the guy or not, whatever the media spends on Muammar Gaddafi, whatever they spun on him. If you look at the stuff that he was doing for his country, you're like, I mean, they had free healthcare, free college, he was trying to create this. He was giving money to all of his citizens he's like, hey, listen, Libya got this oil. My people going to eat. My people going to benefit from this oil sale. Why is our money going to the West? So they trying to do the same thing with Traore now. They trying to do the same thing. Hey, we need these minerals that they got, and we can't have him doing this. But again, they send a brother in there to try to get him out of there so that now, hey, it was one of your own people that did it to you. It wasn't us. Let me read this for y'all. I got some more scripture. I got 3 examples, and we're going to move on to the next topic, okay? Deuteronomy 20 and 1 through 4. Watch this. This stuff is in scripture, y'all. You cannot make this stuff up. Deuteronomy 20 and 1 through 4. Oops, that's KJV. Yeah, I don't want to share that. Let's go here. Hang on. Thank y'all for being here tonight. This is an interesting topic, and I'm happy to share this with you all. And I'm so happy I have my guest on here tonight, y'all. This has been a very rich experience. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. All right, let's go here. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 1. All right. Okay, Deuteronomy 20. I'm gonna show y'all a series of instructions that were given to the ancient Israelites that play into what happened with the Maccabean covenant with the Romans. Watch this. Deuteronomy 20 and 1 through 4. When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seized horses and chariots and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them. For the Lord thy God is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when you are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people. Remember, those priests had power to control the elements. They weren't preachers or ministers or priests or in the modern sense. The ancient priests and priestesses had the ability to command the elements. Okay, verse 3: and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, you approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint. Fear not, and do not tremble. Neither be ye terrified because of them. For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. All right. Somebody forgot who they were. Next reference comes from Exodus 23 and 33. Exodus 23 and 33. Watch this. And y'all gonna see how this all plays together. Exodus 23 and 33. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me, or error. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee. I'm going to say that again. They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you up against me. For if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto you. All right. So he was giving them instructions. Exodus 34 and 10 through 12. These are ancient instructions. And he said, Behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels. I'm going to make you a promise, y'all. I'm going to do marvels for you, such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among which thou art, shall see the work of the Most High. For it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. Observe thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you're going, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. All right? All right? So that was Exodus 34 and 10 through 12. So as you can see, all of these examples, he told his people, his chosen ones, don't make no covenants with these people, because if you do it, it's going to be for a snare and a trap. I showed y'all First Maccabees chapter 8. They went there and they made a covenant with the Romans for protection. He said, you ain't got to get nobody to protect you. I got you. If they come at you, I'm going to show some stuff. I'm going to show my power using these elements. I tell y'all, the Most High fights with the elements. He uses fire, water, air, and earth. Okay. And ether. There's some ancient Kemetic names for those too. I don't remember all of them, but I took a little class and they map to each one of your fingers. Nate, if you remember them, you can say what they are. It's the same thing. They're elements. So the Most High always fights using the elements and forces of nature. Okay, I can do all of that. Earth. If your enemy's coming to you, I'm gonna do something terrible. I'm gonna make the earth open up and swallow their whole army. That's one thing I can do. Water. I can make a flood come out of the middle of dry land and wash them away. Okay. Fire, I can make fire come from heaven like I did with Elijah against the prophets of Baal. Air, I can just snatch the air out of their lungs if I want to. I'm going to do something terrible. All you got to do is trust me. Nah, Most, I don't know, man. Them Romans, man, they effing up everybody in the earth, man. I don't know, man. Maybe they say if we go over there and talk to them and then tell them we cool with them, they're going to be cool with us. How many hundreds of years later, they on your land and you're gone. So now, fast forward that to Traore. What did he do? He went and because of the United States and the French not leaving him alone and all of these attempts on his life, he goes to Russia and makes a covenant with them and China. But guess what? And I'm not saying that they want what French or that they don't want what the French and the Americans want. But listen, part of that covenant is, hey, we're going to put our bases in Burkina Faso, and they ain't gonna dare come at you now. It's the same playbook. What did the Romans do? The Romans came and put bases all throughout the Canaan land. Guess what that does for you? Now, if these people uprise and you need to deal with them, your military already there. You ain't got to pay for them to travel to come get. They already right there. And by the way, while they're right there, they watching you the whole time. They know what your capabilities are. Remember, the ancient Romans always studied their opponents for months before they went to battle with them. So when they went to invade you or attack you, they already knew what you were going to do. They knew what your capabilities were, what type of weapons you had, what type of morale the people around there were. That's what happens. Now, let me show y'all this before we move forward. Let me show y'all something, because this is late breaking news. The Burkina Faso military was recently ambushed by some Al-Q AEDA. I don't want to trigger no algorithm. Okay. Al-Q-ADA affiliates. Okay. They ambushed the Burkina Faso military, according to reports, and killed 200 of their soldiers. All right. And this is on the heels of the pledge of support from China and Russia. Now, let me play this. Let me play a little of this video for y'all. Let me make sure I got it in here. Let's see. Here we go, right here. I'm showing this under fair use. This is from the Africa News Channel on YouTube, and I can put a link to this entire video if you guys want to see it in its entirety. I'm only showing about 2 minutes of it, but I'll put the link in the description box for anybody who wants to see it. Here we go.
News Channel, your trusted voice for Pan-African truth, fearless journalism, and critical thinking that challenges the mainstream narrative. If you're joining us for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your engagement in the comment section is vital. We encourage respectful discourse that helps shape a liberated and informed Africa. Disclaimer: this video is created strictly for educational and informational purposes based on publicly available data, verified reports, and independent commentary. We fully adhere to YouTube's community guidelines. No hate, violence, or misinformation is endorsed or intended. After the unexpected and controversial appearance of a former Al-Qaeda-linked leader in Paris alongside President Emmanuel Macron, a new and troubling report has emerged from Burkina Faso. And
let me back that up so y'all can see who he's shaking hands with, just in case y'all missed that. Let me back that up.
Hate, violence, or misinformation is endorsed or intended. After the unexpected and controversial appearance of a former Al-Qaeda-linked leader in Paris alongside President Emmanuel Macron, a new and troubling report has emerged from Burkina Faso. An Al-Qaeda-affiliated group has claimed responsibility for a brutal attack on a military base in the country. According to their statement, over 200 Burkina-based soldiers were killed and critical state infrastructure was destroyed.
In Burkina Faso, over 200 Burkina Faso soldiers have been ambushed and liquidated by Al-Qaeda affiliates in the Sahel, killing 200 Burkina Faso soldiers. Now look at the timing of this. The president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, visited Russia, and upon coming back, he's seen this happening. They are trying to weaken the resolve of the Burkinabe army. They are trying to weaken the resolve of the Burkina Faso people by doing this. Well, we know the people on the ground. The Western Europeans, particularly France and America, are there on the ground providing intelligence to some of these cells on when to move, the location of soldiers, and so on and so forth. This is why it is extremely difficult for these African soldiers to be able to mount any sustained attack on these terrorists. We're also seeing that as well in Nigeria. These Islamic State groups, as they call them, or whether it's Mujao or Al-Mohabitun, most of these groups are getting intelligence from somewhere. They have eyes in the sky, they can see the movement of troops, and who the hell is providing them with this intelligence in Africa? It is definitely not the countries in Africa. It is those on the ground that have the access to this information, those on the ground that have access to aerial intelligence, that are providing these terrorists with intelligence to ambush and attack and kill Burkinabe soldiers.
Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder, is this a case of good cop, bad cop? You know what I mean? Makes you wonder if that's a case of good cop, bad cop. Why you say that, Matt? Well, he gets hit right after he makes this deal right after he visits Russia, right? By who? This Al-QUA whatever group affiliates who is seen shaking hands with French President Macron, who's still salty because him and his bases got kicked out of that country. Again, the bases are there to protect the business interest. Y'all go do your history on the British East India Company. People are talking about, oh, the British is putting their navy and their army in North America to fight against the Indians. Why? because it was protecting business interests. They were there taking resources back then, right? So you think you're dealing with what business has a foreign military got in a foreign land? But if you got business interests there, then they're there to protect it. So it makes you wonder if this is, well, the French, and I know the French are not allied with Russia in any way or shape or form, but I mean, how long before things flip? It just makes you wonder. Do you guys have any comments on that before? And for those of you who want to see it, there is an article out there. I'll just share this really quick, and you guys can take a look at this. But just showing you guys that this stuff isn't, this is the news that does not get put in the mainstream here in the West. All right, let me show this really quick, and I'm not gonna play anything, or I'm not gonna read it because I just gave you guys the clip notes. But there's the article. It's on Al Jazeera site. This is from a couple days ago. Al-Qaeda affiliate claims 200 soldiers killed in Burkina Faso attack. Okay. That was from May 15th. Again, 515. A lot of stuff happened on 515, right? Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. So, any final thoughts before we move on with the final part of this video? Okay. Because I got this special treat at the end I want to show you guys.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Now, for as like Burkina Faso making this alliance with Russia and China, so are you saying that may come back to bite them? That has a downside? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying look at the history.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying look at the history. History repeats itself. If you don't learn from it, they have something very valuable there. If you look in the ancient times, and this is what I tell people look at the modern geological state and meteorological state of places like modern day, I call them 1948 state, but modern day Israel and modern day Egypt, and they look at how dry those places are, and they don't realize that those places used to be extremely lush. They used to be extremely lush. Why would the Romans want to go and take over a place that's dry where you can't? The Romans used those places because they produced a lot of food. They produced a lot of food back in the day. And if you're an empirical nation and you're trying to spread out, you need food to feed that army. And they couldn't grow enough food in what would be modern day Italy to feed their army. And even if they could, it's like, okay, well, our army's way over here. Do we have time to send shiploads of food? What if the ship gets shipwrecked in a storm or something? Our soldiers aren't eating. So those places used to be extremely fertile. They've even got evidence that shows that there used to be causeways going right up to the pyramids. So am I wrong, Nate? Am I wrong?
Oh, you're definitely right about that.
Yeah. So the thing is, those places used to be extremely lush, and now they're dry. So the thing is, the Romans needed them for food before. Now you look at what the commodity is in the world now. Look back maybe just a few hundred years ago. It's always something that is of value. They were over in the Caribbean because they found out that sugarcane produced this sweetness that people got addicted to. Now, sugarcane, I'm from reading history, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but sugarcane was one of the most physically taxing crops to grow. And that was the same with the Nottoway plantation. They grew sugar there. They said cotton was child's play compared to sugarcane. So, but what was it? Sugarcane produced an addictive response in the body, just like it does today. Refined sugar produces an addictive response. So it's like, hey, we can keep people buying this stuff and just create this economic boon. Now it's about these precious minerals, because these precious minerals power technology. They power technology, and gold holds its value throughout all time and space. It ain't like money. Okay, if money ain't backed by gold, then it's backed by debt, which ain't even real in the U.S. This is why the U.S. is trying to stay. They're trying to stay in the game, because the number one commodity, the number one export with the U.S. is debt. When people stop buying U.S. debt, they're like, well, what are we going to do? So now it's about these precious resources and minerals that they have in Burkina Faso, because they power technology, and they help to power these weapons, these advanced weapon systems that they're creating, to deal with these celestials that's about to show up. Like they really think they can build some advanced weapon. They hide this stuff in the movies all the time. Like Avengers Endgame. They needed these crystals to power this super weapon, right? Crystals. They show you this stuff. If you're looking at it for entertainment value, you're gonna miss the message. But they hide this stuff in these movies all the time. So I'm saying that, you know, Bernadette, and I've talked so much I forgot your question. What was your question again?
The question was, as far as Burkina making this deal with Russia and China, are you saying there's a downside to it? I just want to make sure I understand.
Potentially. For China, definitely. Russia's a little bit of a wild card, but China doing it's par for the course. They doing what they do all over the Chinese, all over the African continent. They come in there and they give cash in exchange for land leases. Okay, let us do a 99-year lease on this land in exchange for this much money. By the way, if you can't pay us back on schedule, then you default on this loan and we get to keep the land. They already know they can't pay it back because they're not producing anything to be able to do it. The very thing that you could use to produce goods that you could sell to pay back the loan, they got. See what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, let us borrow this land, lease this land to us, and we'll loan this money to you. And then because now we have a lease for this land, we're robbing it of the minerals and producing food. And by the way, we're creating now whole Chinese communities, and we're teaching the local people Chinese as a second language. And we're putting our own police departments in there, and they're Chinese police departments. From the reports I've seen, some of them watching Dr. Moonby's shows over the last year or so, those Chinese police departments, what they're doing is the same stuff you see over here in America. Colonial police departments. So it's like those police departments protect the Chinese workers and their families. So they ain't got no problem putting a hot one in a local African person. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing all over again. Rinse, repeat all over the globe. So I cannot speak for Russia, but I can tell you, China, their footprint is already in Africa. You think they're going to do something different in Burkina Faso? No. So who are you making a deal with? Who are you getting in bed with? President Traore? Go read your Bible, bro. It ain't the religious book that they use to conquer the world. They put that spell work in it. That's why the gospel. I was talking to somebody about that earlier today. It's the God spell. The God spell breaks all the other spells, but they're not preaching and teaching the God spell because that could break the mental chains off you. They teach you, oh, you know what? What's the old joke? Hey, when the Europeans showed up to the shores of America, they had the Bible and we had the land, and they told us to get on our knees and close our eyes and pray. When we opened up our eyes, we had the Bible and they had the land. Same deal. So again, I can't speak for Russia, but China, you know what they're doing. They're doing it everywhere. They're doing it in Jamaica. And by the way, you're getting a lot of babies produced from Chinese men who have whole families back in China, but they come and making second and third families on the African continent and in the Caribbean. So that's what's happening. Nate, if you got any final comments on that, if not, I'm going to move on. We're going to briefly touch on this little end of the bromance between Trump and Beanie Man.
No, I don't have any more questions right now.
All right. Well, let's move on. I'm going to show y'all this little clip right here. Thank y'all for being here again tonight. And I want to Nate, I'm gonna come around to you because I want to ask you about these Houthis. You're ex-Navy, so I want to ask you about that. But let me show video file number 1 here. All right. This is George. I'll save George Calloway. I'll save him. Hang on. Let's watch this one first.
Planning on shopping in Israel.
I think the message is clear. No more free lunches for Israel in the United States, in Washington. It's an end of an era. Trump #2 is very different from Trump 1 in his first term. I think that he realized that Netanyahu is bluffing, that he doesn't mean business. What Trump wants is an economic deal with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and he wants to end the war. He believes that war is not good for business, and he is first of all a businessman, and that Netanyahu has nothing to offer him. So the message is that Israel will have to pay in diplomatic currency, hard currency, to get out of Gaza, to complete the deal that Trump started in his first term. That normalization with Saudi Arabia, Qatar is right there, waiting for Israel, and that the Israeli government will have to make a decision. What are their priorities? Is there the priority number one is to perpetuate the war and the conflict with the Palestinians, or to grab the opportunities that President Trump is putting on the table? I think that what Netanyahu wants is to make sure to perpetuate the war and find a way out of his trial, to be there forever, otherwise he can end up in jail. So it's his interest vis-a-vis Trump's interest. I don't see a point that both of them can meet. The interest of Trump are 180 degrees far from Netanyahu's interest. Netanyahu wants to survive. What Trump wants is business, and America first, and it's not Israel first. For Netanyahu, this is a lose-lose game. He didn't give the permission to the United States to negotiate with Hamas, and what we see now is that Trump doesn't need his permission to do anything, to talk to Iran, Hamas, to negotiate with Lebanon. Netanyahu lost his veto power over the United States. Trump is not very emotional about other countries, but he is not going to give Israel a free ride to kill more Palestinians and to avoid the deal to get back our own hostages. He showed the Israeli public that what Netanyahu can do, he can do much better. He can bring back hostages, what Netanyahu is declining to do. And this is a clear message to the Israelis that actually Trump is a real friend of Israel, and that he doesn't take no for an answer from Bibi Netanyahu.
All right, I got a few more. I'm gonna run straight through them, y'all, and then we'll wrap on these briefly, and then get ready to wrap up. So let me just run through these really quick because I want to hear what you guys' thoughts on these are, because Donald's doing a lot right now. He's doing a lot.
This entire administration has turned on Israel. I can't even believe the following statements. Mike Huckabee, who was so pro-blue state I thought he was compromised, amazingly said that the U.S. isn't required to get permission from Israel to cut a deal with Yemen. Yes, Mike Huckabee said that. Even more amazing is Lindsey Graham. He said that Iran is actually going to be allowed to have a peaceful nuclear program. That was never allowed and even unthinkable to say. And the fact that pro-blue state Lindsey Graham said it is just jaw-dropping. And Marjorie Taylor Greene even backed up that America will no longer be hitting Yemen on behalf of the blue state either. That was a viral video. Couldn't believe it even as I'm watching it. Steve Witkoff turned on them too. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth canceled his visit to Israel and snubbed them. Is this a bluff? A game? Everyone's in disbelief, and this information even took a few days to sink in, even for me. Are they pretending? No White House administration has even pretended to go this far. What's the game and what's going on? We shall see. We'll wait and see the results and what they do in the future. But so far, they're doing everything we hoped for. This is unbelievable.
Interesting times. Interesting times. Let's move to the third one. Got two more here.
Right now, wondering what is going on between Trump and Israel. Because to some experts, it seems as though Trump has had a falling out with Netanyahu. Let's get into it and you tell me. Right before Trump left for the Gulf, Hamas released their last living American hostage as a gesture to Trump with some sort of an understanding reached through a back channel. With Israel reportedly not being told about this and only finding out through their own spy agencies. Then last week, Trump also reached a deal with the Houthis and the US would stop bombing them, and in exchange, they wouldn't target American ships. But Israel appears to have been entirely left out of the deal, and now they're undergoing what the Houthi call an air blockade, so they're firing missiles missiles into Israel. And whether they actually hit anything or not, it doesn't matter. The point is to stop all air traffic in and out. Then, over the weekend, a story broke that was sourced from officials in the Gulf that Trump could recognize Palestine as a country this week, but the U.S. ambassador denied it. Also, earlier this year, Trump blindsided Netanyahu to his face by announcing that the U.S. would enter nuclear talks with Iran. There was also a report that Israel was planning to strike Iran's nuclear sites this month, but Trump called it off, saying that he prefers a deal instead. He even allegedly removed Mike Waltz because he was working with the Israelis on a plan without asking him. And then today in Syria, you had Trump announcing the lifting of all sanctions on the nation despite opposition from Israel. Now with that, Trump did say, hey, maybe you should recognize Israel, but he is lifting sanctions regardless. And so, you have people on all sides speculating as to what's actually happening here. Right? Some have said that since Netanyahu is occupying Gaza now, Trump views this as an insult to his idea of turning it into a luxury resort. You also have others saying that Bibi just wasn't willing to pay the bribe money that the Gulf states have. Though this is, you have others saying that the Israeli government is kind of a pariah right now and he's willing to gain more allies even if it means losing Israel. But really, there are a lot of moving pieces, and so I'll ask you, what do you think? And remember, follow to stay in the loop.
Nate, let me one more, because I want to ask you, your ex-Navy guy. I want to talk to you about them Houthis and what happened with that battle group over there. But let me play one more video. Let's play one more. Uh-oh, that's not what I want.
What a splendid call from a trucker hauling timber in Canada. This truly is the Open University of the airwaves, and it is global. Thanks, RB, for that. In response, I'd make these points. In a provisional praise of Donald Trump, he definitely has put Netanyahu's nose out of joint. He has definitely ghosted Netanyahu. He didn't mention the word Israel last night in his hour-long speech in Riyadh, sandwiched between some cockamamie country and Western paean of praise to himself and the YMCA anthem at the end of it. But in between, the speech itself contained quite some number of interesting either new lines or lines that he hasn't struck since the campaign in 2016. For example, he lacerated the nation-building centrism of the Social Democrats in Washington and, by extension, in London and in the European Union. These nation builders, he said, their time was gone, that the United States was not intent on telling people how to live their lives, how to organize themselves. It was, if you like, an attack on the George Soros school of Americana, that everyone has to have the same system, the same attitudes to all kinds of issues, including issues that are plainly within the national sovereignty of countries themselves. And I found that quite an interesting, the venom with which, the energy with which he attacked the previous era of activist America, activist American government, was quite interesting. Secondly, as I say, he did not mention the word Israel. He's on a tour of the Middle East, but he's not going to Israel.
I want to ask y'all, okay, and whoever wants to answer this first can jump in. Bernadette, you grab the mic first if you like. Is this something new that Trump is doing with regards to, is he really turning his back on Israel, or is there something else at play here? What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure if it's something new, but I just see it like this. Like your best buddy, like you're a man and your best buddy goes behind your back and steals your woman. That's why I see what he's doing. It's not Israelis are looking up to Trump. You know, he did something that Benjamin Netanyahu failed to do. So that's like he's double crossing Netanyahu. He's doing something dirty.
Why would you think he would do that? I mean, or do you even have any thoughts into why he might want to do that, if that is the case?
Well, just off the top of my head, Trump is just doing what Trump does. Trump, he somebody like him, a sociopath person like him, they don't have friends. They just have people that they use and exploit. And if you're no longer any use for him, you know, he discards you, or he doesn't care, he double crosses you. So Benjamin Netanyahu thought Trump was his friend, Trump was in his pocket, but he's getting his wake-up call that Trump is not.
Nate?
My take.
Well, you were saying, like, far as the Trump and Israel, I'm thinking that Trump is not going to be like the previous presidents, just give them whatever they want. You know, they can say, hey, I need this, and U.S. will cut them a check. Dude, I believe that Trump going to want to take over that whole area. I'm thinking that's what he's going to try to do. I know Israel, they want to control. They want all of Gaza now. But see, I believe Trump going to try to come in there and get it before they do.
I'm kind of inclined to agree with you on that, because I heard something today that suggested that there are some huge natural gas reserves under Gaza. So and I'm looking at the comments right now. Torgo said it's about the money. He doesn't have any. If you look at what Trump has done with NATO, how many times has he threatened to pull the U.S. out of NATO? He's like, well, you know, you got to pay. They're not paying. Why do we have to put the bill? They're not paying. Netanyahu, if you think about it, the U.S. spends all of this money to get, you know, and it's to your point too, Bernadette. If you look at how Trump moves, the U.S. is sending billions of dollars of weapons to Israel for them to do what it is that they're doing. And he's like, if we're giving you this much money, what's in it for us?
Yes.
So he's looking at it like, from a business standpoint, you're in my way now because I've invested this much, or our country has invested this amount of money into keeping you guys secure at no cost return to us, or no return on investment to us. But if we can, since y'all ran the people out of Gaza, and they can't come back because it's uninhabitable. What did he say earlier this year about putting some resorts out there? The resorts could be a front for that natural gas, because I mean, yeah, you're gonna make some money on tourism, but they're already making money on tourism in Israel. You're not gonna make that much more money, but you're gonna make a heck of a lot of money on natural gas if it's about that. So, and he's making deals with the people that already are dealing in oil and energy. You see what I'm saying? So it could be that he's snubbing Netanyahu, like, look, man, you in the way. On top of that, he could be distancing himself from a war criminal. You see what I'm saying? Because all of these, the ICJ and the ICC are after this man. So if Trump's like, look, we ain't supporting you in this anymore, then you got that. But again, Trump, if he's in that low vibrational energy of that Gemini, because he's a Gemini, you don't know which one you're getting. You don't know if you're getting Jekyll or Hyde. So those are the twins. So these are interesting things, but I asked y'all that question because I wanted to hear some other opinions on it. In either case, the question I have for y'all is, well, let me go to this, Nate, because I got to ask you this too. To what degree could it be that, hey, you know what? Our Navy didn't look that good against these Houthis that don't even have a fleet, a surface fleet. So maybe let's make money and make peace instead of, because I mean, think about it. Why did they try their hand at the war thing and securing Israel for Netanyahu and fail? Like, you tell me, Nate, you lost the what, $60 million fighter plane to friendly fire, and then you lose another one off the deck with an evasive maneuver. Nate, you got two carrier groups out there, and you agree to stop bombing and move to a peace stance. By the way, you say, hey, just don't bomb stop firing at our naval vessels, and you can keep doing what you're doing with Israel. We don't care. Just don't fire at us, and we won't bomb your territory. What are your thoughts on that, being a sailor yourself there, Nate?
I believe that they really don't want to really make Trump mad and he just go crazy and bomb everything, just wipe them all out and not care about any man, woman, or child, innocence. But that's what I'm thinking. That
Well,
he
let me
don't
ask
want to
you this.
really escalate it.
Well, let me ask you this. How likely is it? Because when I first heard that story, I thought that was a little bit of cap. Them saying an F-18 got shot down off of friendly fire. How likely is it that an F-18 gets shot down by friendly fire with all the technology that we have?
Not too often, no, unless you have another superpower with jets and stuff in the area too. But no,
See, and I was in the Army. I know how these things work. If somebody who ain't supposed to be somewhere gets unalived, it's really easy to release a narrative that says, oh, such and such died in a training accident. Because who will ever know, right? But in this case, that friendly fire thing sounded like cap to me. I don't know. But then you lose an F-18 sliding off the ship trying to make an evasive maneuver. I'm wondering if, hey, you know what? Maybe the general said to him, hey, we're going to look better if we can stop fighting these guys because we're the mighty U.S. Navy and we're taking a black eye from some guys that don't even have a surface fleet and they're harassing the heck out of us like somebody knocked open a hornet's nest. So I don't know, but this is starting to look like the ancient Romans when they were so unbeatable and they started getting beaten by bands of raiders. Their vaunted Roman legions started losing to people that nobody even knew who they were. So I'm wondering to what degree this might be history repeating itself. I don't know. I don't know. But any thoughts, Bernadette, before I move to the final segment, which is Dr. Mumbi and this clip that she talked about Kenya? Because we got to talk about that real quick before we
go. No, I don't have any thoughts.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on then. I want to show y'all this clip by Dr. Mumbi, and this came from her Instagram channel. So y'all check this out right here. Dr. Mumbi Saraki, for those of y'all who don't know, I love her show. All right, here we go. Oh, that was bars. For those of y'all who don't know, I love her show. Here we go. Y'all give me some music. Oh, that boy still got it. Anyway, let me stop. Here we go.
This is for entertainment purposes only. I will listen to this clip from the Finnish president, Jana. Since you can't listen to us, maybe when Mzungu says it, you'll actually believe it. He talks about how the reason Finland chose to come to Kenya as the first country in Africa for their state visit and the first country in the global south is because Kenya is going to play an instrumental role in the new world order. And some of you are saying, Ati, nyef, nyef, because I said Kenya is very significant. Now they've just revealed that the PM of the divided kingdom also wants to come here soon. If you don't wake up, family, you'll be part of these guys' little whatever instead of appreciating and experiencing and living the true awakening and royalty of Kenya. Because it's a mental thing. It's a conscious thing. If you don't know how you're going to be whatever, anyway, check it out.
I've been asked why did we want to come on our first state visit in Africa and especially in the global south to Kenya, and I think the reason is very simple. Not only do we have a similar mindset, which William referred to earlier, believing in multilateralism and cooperation and peaceful coexistence and the UN Charter, but I, coming from a small northeastern country, also believe that Kenya will be one of the game changers in a new world order. And my take is very simple. This is one of these 1918, 1945 or 1989 moments when the world order is changing. It'll take about 5 to 10 years for it to settle, and we'll live in a world of disorder. And there are going to be a few countries in this world that are going to make a difference, and Kenya is certainly one of them.
Let me hear what y'all got to say about that. Who goes first? Who wants to go first on that one? Let me hear what y'all got to say before I give you my narrative on it, my take on it. Who wants to go first? Why Kenya? No takers? Let me jump in, y'all. Let me jump in. Y'all put it in the chat if you have seen the movie 2012. 2012. If you've seen that movie 2012, it came out in the year 2009. John Cusack was in that movie. Danny Glover was the president in that movie. Anybody remember that film 2012? It's funny how you go back and you watch something again, how it hits different the second time you watch it 16 years later, okay? In that movie 2012, there was, in the trailer, they said something that that I found pretty profound. Let me see if I can't find, because I wrote that down. I wrote it down. Where did I put that notes? Where did I write that? Okay, there it is. Is that it? Is that it? No, I just put this in here. Hang on, fam. I just wrote that down a second ago. Where did I write that? It was something to the effect of what do oh y'all, I just put that note in there. The copy from the 2012 trailer said, how would the governments of our planet prepare 6 billion people for the end of the world? They wouldn't. Okay. If y'all get a chance, if you've never seen that movie 2012, Mariah Stella saw it. Good. Thank you. If you have not seen that movie, you can watch it free on Tubi TV. So those of y'all that have the Tubi TV app, just go in there and type in 2012. I think the movie poster is a giant tidal wave or something like that. You can watch it. You can rent it on Amazon, but if you can watch it free with just a couple of ads, go watch it on Tubi TV. Either go to the website. Matter of fact, what am I doing? I can show y'all this. Right? What's my saying? I can show you better than I can tell you. Hang on a second now. Tubi TV. I want to show y'all this. Okay, find movies 2012. Oops. Oopsie. All right, right here. Let me share this really quick, just so y'all know what it looks like. That's the screen there. 2012 on Tubi TV. All right. When a series of cataclysmic natural disasters strike across the globe, a writer tries to save his family as world leaders race to save humanity. All right. Y'all check that out. It's a very interesting movie. I saw it back in 2009. When I saw it in 2009, it was just entertainment. But watching it now and juxtaposing that with the narrative of what's going on in Kenya, let me share just a couple of notes with y'all. Okay. I can't show any of that on the screen, obviously, but again, the copy from the trailer said, how would the governments of our planet prepare 6 billion people for the end of the world? The answer was they wouldn't. Okay. There's a link between that movie 2012 and I think why the West is buffalo stampeding towards Kenya. All of these Western nations, when you watch that movie, it is so profound, if you will, that the end of that movie, you see the end of it, it might suggest why the West is running towards Africa. Okay. Kenya is, I think, the lifeboat. For some reason, there's something in Kenya that they want. There's an energy there. There could be some ancient ley lines that I don't know. But for some reason, they are singling out Kenya. And if you watch enough of Dr. Mumbi's videos, she tells you that there's a spiritual energy, especially in the high country in Kenya, that cannot be found anywhere else. Now, of course, we got those pockets all around the earth. So it's not that Kenya is more special than Sedona, Arizona. You just got different places like that that have this super high spiritual energy about them. But there's something about that. And I want to talk about that for a moment. In that movie 2012, the end of it might suggest why the West is running to Africa. Spoiler alert. I apologize if, this is playing spoiler, but it's a movie that's 16 years old. Go check it out. I watched it for the second time today. And to watch it again versus the first time I watched it in 2009, it's completely just hits different. At the end of this movie, the African continent and the so-called Middle East ended up being the only inhabitable places left on Earth. Okay? The only inhabitable places left on Earth. What happens is there's a natural disaster that is triggered by solar activity. These massive solar flares leaving the sun, hitting the Earth, that triggered these geological events. What happened? And y'all, they've been talking about this for years. I've covered it on this channel. The super volcano. You got these cauldrons all around the planet. And one of the biggest ones is here in North America, the United States in particular. Yellowstone. They mentioned it back in the movie, back in 2009, and it went right over the head. It was just entertainment. But y'all, what happened was the cosmic radiation coming from the sun, the plasma energy coming from the sun triggered these energies. And what happened was Yellowstone ended up blowing, and it triggered fissures all over the planet. I guess it set off the other super cauldrons or whatever, but all of these fissures started opening up in the earth. Everything started getting swallowed up, volcanic eruptions, and these massive tidal waves from these earthquakes that were washing out everything. Okay. Now, at the end of this movie, again, you talk about the Middle East and Africa were the only places left. Now, in the movie, another thing was that I found interesting was that all of the European, Asian, and Western leaders with their money were buying seats on these arcs. So the Chinese were building these arcs because they knew what was coming. And these people, these billionaires, were buying seats on these arcs so that they could be saved when this massive tidal wave came and started washing all over the earth. Okay. Now, what's interesting is the president, Danny Glover, when he's talking and addressing these world leaders and saying, hey, we got to save leadership on this planet. We can't save all of the people. We can't save 6 billion people. A bunch of people are going to die, but we got to ensure the continuity of the planet. I just named for you Europe, Asia, all of these Western leaders, North America, South America, Australia, they didn't have any so-called black leaders in this meeting where the president was addressing them via satellite or whatever. Okay. These telecons. And so there were no quote unquote African leaders there. But interestingly enough, the only world leaders on the ark were those of these former colonial powers. Meanwhile, when all was said and done, Africa was virtually untouched by these massive global atrocities, these massive global cataclysmic events. Africa remained untouched. The rest of it at the end of the movie was underwater. Now, you could probably, speculate against why in the writing of this film, African leaders were intentionally kept out of the rescue plans, right? You can kind of argue those points. But the funny thing is they name some pretty interesting places that were in South Africa. It was just mind-blowing, y'all. Y'all got to watch that movie 2012. Now, all of that, why did I bring this up? I brought this up, and I wanted to mention to you guys what this place was called. It was the Drakensberg Mountains of KwaZulu Natal. Let me explain something here. I want to read this really quick. All right. Shout out to Boss Lady for sending me this info. Y'all know how Virgos get down. You want some details, you get it from Virgo, you get it from Scorpio. They're gonna pull the deets for you. All right, and that's a little bit too small for me to read. Let's see. It says here. Now that word, of course, they had to westernize it. The Drakensberg mountain range in South Africa. Drakensberg actually breaks down to, if you look up the Zulu name of it, it is Ukalamba, okay? And it actually comes from the Zulu language. In Zulu, Ukalamba means barrier of spears, and it refers to the Drakensberg Mountains in South Africa, which the Zulu named for their jagged spear-like peaks. In Swahili, and it talks about what the word would be in Swahili, there's no equivalent. But then there's another word, Maloti, okay? The Sesotho word Maloti, and it's mentioned in there, these mountain range. That's a different name for the same mountain range. And it means this. Is the plural form of Thaba, which means mountain. So Maloti means mountains. The Maloti Mountains are part of the larger Drakensberg mountain range that spans Lesotho and South Africa. Lesotho is often called the kingdom in the sky because of these highlands. So that to me was interesting. And I want to read something because y'all hear me bring this theme up a lot. I'm going to read this and then I'm going to close out with some passages of scripture that speak to what is going on here. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. I told you I was going to wait till the end to tell you guys why I felt like this was just entertainment purposes only. Let me explain to y'all what's going on. Y'all hear me talk about this particular passage of scripture all the time on here. The theme again, go watch it. 2012. You can see it for free on Tubi TV. All of these world leaders were going and getting missing so that they could save themselves. But watch this. They went and got these arcs, right, to protect themselves. Let me pull up this for y'all. Okay, because I told y'all this is what's coming, and they're running. These people have seers, y'all. They have seers that tell them what's coming. So if that movie came out in 2009, and they were referencing 2012 because that was supposedly when the world was going to end via the according to the Mayan calendar, but those solar flares weren't hitting the earth like they are right now. Let me share this with y'all real quick, and we're gonna wrap up. Thank y'all for being here, and Nate and Bernadette, thank y'all for hanging out. I know this went a little long. Amos chapter 9. Okay. Y'all seen me read this before. I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the post may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. Though they dig into hell, or dig into the earth, these bunkers that they're building, thence shall mine hand take them. And though they climb up to heaven, going up to the tops of the mountains, okay, or look for some sort of ship that's supposed to save them, some rocket ship. What goes up must come down, right? I don't even know what they think. You can't get out of the earth. You can't. Okay. There's a firmament covering it. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. And though they go into captivity before their enemies, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I will set mine eyes upon them for evil and not for good. That prophecy is linked to why I believe these Western nations are running to Africa. They know that there is some catastrophe coming, and for some reason, perhaps they what do they say? J.P. Morgan quote: "Millionaires study science, billionaires study astrology," or "Millionaires don't study astrology, billionaires do." They hire people and keep them on staff to tell them what's coming because they know how to read the stars, and the stars tell them what's coming upon the earth. They know what's coming. This is why you keep seeing these quote unquote billionaires going missing. They're trying to get away from the face of him who is coming to reset this place. All right. So when you look at that, I'm going to read to you guys now why none of this matters. Go and watch 2012. And then make the connection between all of these Western powers making a mad dash for Kenya and why they're trying to get in Africa right now and these different places, why they're trying to post up in all of these places that they called SHIT whole countries and all that they're SHIT whole countries. But now you want to get there. Why are you running to Greenland? Why do you want to buy Greenland? What's happening? Do y'all know something we don't know? Remember the quote from the trailer of that movie. How would the governments of our planet prepare 6 billion people for the end of the world? They wouldn't. They don't care. They're trying to get their lifeboat. I think that lifeboat is in Africa, and I think they're trying to take their administrative rulership and save it by running over here to the Ark. I think that they have a Ark of protection there in Africa, right? An Ark protects you, which saves you from destruction, right? The Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant. What if the Ark of the Covenant for a lot of these Western powers are these melanated people that's there? Right? The Ark of the Covenant, remember, whenever the ancient Israelites would go to battle, they bring the Ark of the Covenant with one of the priests or the high priest, and they would, or one of the prophets. And as long as that Ark of the Covenant was there at the battle, the Israelites never lost. What if that Ark of the Covenant is these melanated people that's connected to those ancient people now? And now that takes you and tells you why in Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, around the 8th verse, he says, "In that day I will burst thy bonds and break his yoke from off thy neck, and strangers will no more serve themselves of you." Look at what happened in 515 all around the planet. You had that attack over there. 200 of these people got killed. And then over here, you had the ancestors burning down. Now, my take, what I've heard about that fire at that plantation was that it started in an upstairs room, but then they actually put the fire out. But then a fire just spontaneously started on the roof, and the wind blew it and spread it all across the house and burned it up. Somebody trying to tell somebody something that your time is up. That's what I think. Let me read these. Now, here's why I said at the beginning that this is for entertainment purposes only, and I will say that here at the end because we're done. It's pretty much a wrap here. Let me bring some final scriptures up for you guys, and we're going to get up out of here. Thank y'all for being here tonight. I hope y'all found this entertaining if nothing else. All right? This is why Matthew said this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's go there. Why was this whole video, Matt, for entertainment purposes only? Prophecy and spoken word, universal law. Isaiah 55:11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. This is the universal I am presence speaking. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Okay? That's number one. So that's why this is for entertainment purposes only. Why'd you read that, Matt? Because he said anything I said is not going to go unfulfilled. Now, 2nd Ezra 6:9, I don't need to bring it up. I told y'all what it is. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Somebody knows their time is up. Now, here's also, and this ties back into Abraham Traore thing among everything else that's going on in the world right now. Let's move it to Jeremiah. Y'all, it's here. It's here. The flip is here. It ain't coming. It's here. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds, and strangers, which if you break it down in concordance means immigrants or foreigners, shall no more serve themselves of him. Let's skip down to verse 18. This is what's coming. This is what's on deck. Thus saith the Most High, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents and have mercy on his dwelling places. Captivity of Jacob's tents. Captivity of Jacob's tents. Somebody holding, what is a tent? A tent is where you live. It's symbolism. I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents. Somebody else holding your house captive, wherever that is, wherever it was originally supposed to be, and have mercy on his dwelling places. This is why all of this stuff, all these deals they're making in the Middle East is for entertainment purposes only. Because the Creator said in Isaiah 55:11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It will not return to me void, but will carry out everything I said it was going to do. Okay? That's why. So, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents and have mercy on his dwelling places. All right? And the city shall be builded upon her own heap. That means after some catastrophic event. And the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of them that make merry. And I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. So gone are the days of shooting women up with Depo-Provera so that you wreck their... I don't even like to talk about that. Gone are the days where you putting ads on, make sure your daughter gets the Hotel Papa Victor whoopty-doo, okay, to protect her later on in life. You giving someone a Hotel Papa Victor wooty-woo to protect them? No, you're destroying their reproductive system. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Let me give you a wooty-woo to protect you from the very thing that you're going to get when I give you the wooty-woo. The game is up. The gig is up. And I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Y'all go watch that movie, The Tomorrow War. Pay attention to what's going on in there. They're going after the mother of these aliens they said, hey, listen, yeah, we're fighting against these offspring, and they're tough. But if we can get rid of the divine feminine, if we can get rid of the mother, if we can kill the female, she can no more produce these offspring. She can't lay these eggs, and then these aliens won't defeat us. Remember, they went into the future in that movie to find a way to defeat that female power, and they did it by creating a wooty-woo. They captured a female and were testing on this female alien in the movie, and they created the wooty-woo. And then they came back from the future into the present and said, hey, if you find where these are located, they're not coming from outer space. They're already here. I know I'm playing spoiler alert. Go watch The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. That is the breakdown you need to see. And in that movie, guess what? They got y'all fighting against yourselves. Now, they spun it like they're aliens, but pay attention to the clues in the movie. These quote-unquote aliens didn't come from outer space. They were already here. Inject the feminine, and then you kill off the lineage. That's symbolism. 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 All right? Verse 20, their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them. Here's the kicker. This goes back to the pimp prostitute example I gave y'all in the middle of this video. Verse 21, and their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governor shall proceed from the midst of them. From the midst of them. Let me read one more passage of scripture. This comes from the book of Psalms, the 69th verse. 69, beginning at 19. Let's go there really quick. Psalm 69, beginning at verse 19. Thou hast known my reproach and my shame and my dishonor. Mine adversaries are all before thee. Reproach hath broken my heart, and I am full of heaviness. And I looked for some to take pity, but there was none. Pardon me, y'all. And for comforters, but I found none. They gave me also gall for my meat, and in my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink. Let their table become a snare before them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap. Let their eyes be darkened that they see not, and make their loins continually to shake, that's trembling in fear. Pour out thine indignation upon them, and let thy wrathful anger take hold of them. Let their habitation be desolate, and let none dwell in their tents. Tents, cities, homes, houses. Remember the Trail of Tears. They made up some story. Those was brothers and sisters. They came and marched out of these townships that were already built. Go look up some of these stories of ancient Tartaria. These buildings were already built over here in the east. Now, they show you this teepee stuff in the west. Them teepees were from the people that came across the Bering Strait land bridge from Asia. That was them people. That wasn't the indigenous people who were already here. The indigenous people who were already here, they had those pueblos that you see in the southwest. Them the same Pueblo-style buildings that they had in Egypt and ancient Israel. Go look it up. Go look it up. And tell me if these ain't the same people. Let their habitation be desolate, verse 25, and let none dwell in their tents. For they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded. Add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them come not into thy righteousness. What is iniquity? Inequity, a lack of balance. I'm going to take all of this and give you this little bit. I'm going to come take your resources and then let you borrow the money, a little bit of the money that I made from the resources, and you can only get it from me, and you got to pay it back with interest. That's inequity, here listed as iniquity. That is a violation of the principles of Mayat, which is about balance and equity, equal give and take, reciprocity. So here David is saying, add inequity unto their inequity, and let them come and let them not come into thy righteousness. Don't let them get none of this good stuff that's coming on the earth. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living and not be written with the righteous. They know these Psalms are real. That's a word that was put out a long time ago. Going back to the video that Bernadette did, where the Sibyls were telling you they spoke a prophecy against Rome. These things were written in ancient times and spoken in ancient times, but we know that time is an illusion. There's only divine timing and divine will. You can kind of get a sense of divine timing, even though you don't know the day or the hour. You can sometimes look at and break it down to the year based on what the planets are doing. This is why they have astrologers. Hey, this thing is coming to alignment. We know what these energies are. I told y'all what was going to happen when Neptune went into Aries at 0 degrees. Now you wait till February of next year when Neptune, the bridge between heaven and earth, the ruler of that bridge, is in alignment. Oh, and go and watch that. Go and watch that movie 2012 because they dropping some nuggets in there. In that movie, Woody Harrelson's character is this crazy guy, but what he shows you is he's showing you this animation of all of these planets coming to an alignment and what type of energy that was going to trigger on the sun with regards to the release of these DNA upgrades. And what some of these people were doing, he said, man, this isn't just changing the earth, this is changing us. I was like, oh my God, how did I not see this in 2009? Go watch 2012. It's free on Tubi TV. They know what's coming. They know that these words were real. These were prophecies spoken a long time ago, but there is no calendar like we keep here. Time is an illusion. There's divine timing and divine will. The divine will is for all of this effery to get reversed and get corrected. Who was on the bottom and the receiving end of all of that punishment is about to be restored. I'm going to give you double for your trouble. Okay, you endured all this trouble. Now I got to reward you with double blessings so that you don't forget it. Remember Job. Y'all thought Job was laced up. The story of Job. You thought Job was laced up and caked up. But then when he went through all of that stuff, when he came out on the other side, he had way more than he had in aforetime. And on top of that, y'all missing, if you're not really looking into that story, you're missing what the Most High did with regards to putting Job through that. We're just looking at it like, oh man, well, you know, did he let the devil try him or whatever? Nah, Job had some stuff in his life that was stressing him out. So he had to move that stuff out of the way. He said, you want to try Job? Go ahead and try him. I already know Job ain't going to fail me because I know what I put in him. So you go ahead and try Job. I need you to try him so I can wipe all of this mess out that's stressing him out. And at the end of this, I'm going to give him more stuff than I took away, and I'm going to give him a better family. This stuff is written. Isaiah 55:11. So shall my word be that proceeded forth. It shall do exactly what I intend for it to do. This stuff is coming. They know it. They know it. So now they're running. Now you got them still trying that dome. Hey, shoot this SpaceX rocket up there and let's see. Where you going? You ain't going nowhere. Y'all ever seen a fish jump out of a covered fish tank? You ain't going nowhere, bro. You got to pay for what you did. Y'all go watch 2012. All right. In the meantime, y'all watch what you're putting in your body because they trying everything. Watch the Tomorrow War, and that's going to teach you to watch what you're putting in your body. They trying to pull out all the stops right now. Why? Because I think in their minds they say, well, hey, it's like these court trials, right? As above, so below, as within, so without. It's like these court trials. When you got an expert witness that can land this guy under the jail, if that witness goes missing, well, hey, there's nobody to testify against him, so this guy walks free. So if you get rid of the recipients of the inheritance, well, hey, Mr. Most High, we got to do a probate now because there's nobody here that claimed it. Guess it's going to go back to the state. We're going to retain all these lands. Where are your people? Where are your people? Where are your chosen people? They might be chosen, but no one sees them. Where are they? It's ours. We're going to keep it. We're going to keep it. Thanks, Mr. Most High guy. Thanks. It ain't going that way. It ain't going down like that. Y'all go watch 2012 and watch the Tomorrow War. The Tomorrow War is on Amazon Prime Video. Y'all check that out. And then again, Tubi TV 2012. It's going to blow your mind because 2012 wasn't entertainment. It actually was a prophecy. It actually was a prophecy. They're selling seats on the movie to all of these billionaires and all of these government officials and leaders around the world so that they can continue their effery. And guess what? At the end of the movie, yeah, I'm playing spoiler. At the end of the movie, when the waters start to recede, they finally find out by looking at their satellite imagery that there's only one place they can go, and it's the Cape of Good Hope in Africa. And so you taking all these world leaders. Oh, so these Africans who was there already, y'all just gonna bring all y'all presidents from all of these lands that got washed away, and y'all just gonna take over who was there? Y'all better read some prophecy. 2012 is prophecy. So Pope Leo's ethnic background. Why? I think it's because they want to keep y'all under subjection. Why? Because y'all are the batteries that charge all of these religions. I've been saying this for a minute. If the so-called black man and the so-called black woman get out of religion, it's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. These so-called governments of the world need y'all to need them. They need y'all to need them. That's why they keep you in something. And when you don't need them anymore, guess what? I gave you the pimp example. She ain't need no pimp. She had her own security. She like, try me if you want to. You ain't going to make it far. You ain't going to come nigh me, and you ain't going to make it far. Oh, I got people watching. You want to try me? Oh, you don't know who they are, do you? I designed it that way. Now, if anybody going to spend money off of this thing I'm selling, it's going to be me. I wasn't mad at her. I'm like, if you're going to do it, it might as well be you making it. I mean, if I'm a woman and I'm not selling it, I might as well be eating off of it. Not me doing the act and then you paying me a percentage. Hey, baby, yo, girl. Hey, you did some good work for me. Here go a couple of dollars. Go take yourself out to Denny's. Get yourself some breakfast. And when you come back, I'm going to take you shopping. Really? You ain't nothing. She probably go choke him out in the MMA move or something. Give me more money, mother. Help. Tapping him out. So they trying to keep y'all in religion. That's why they want to tell you, hey, he's black. Come back to church. Come back to Jamaica. What's old is what's new. We want you to join us. We're waiting for you. Yeah, right. That's old school. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling my age a little bit. That's an old ad for come visit Jamaica, whatever, back in the day. But that's the Pope. Okay. Pope got to get what y'all go watch Bernadette's video. Go watch her video, y'all. I'm gonna put a link in the description box. She did some excellent work on that. Okay. And there's another one. Black Magic 363 did one where he had Vicky Dillard, Myra Waiters, and I forget the other sister's name. That is a phenomenal video. That's an extent. Watch Bernadette's video first, and then go watch that one. I'm gonna put that one in the description box as well. And then so that's that. Ibrahim Traore. Look, y'all pray for the brother. Y'all pray for him. And again, it's entertainment purposes only. They don't get their time is up for doing rinse repeat. They don't get to do it anymore. They've run out of time. So yeah, let's pray for the brother there. He's trying to do some good stuff for his people. He ain't the monster that they trying to make him out to be, but it really ain't gonna matter because time is up. TikTok. I honestly, if it don't happen before February next year, it's gonna happen in February next year when you get Saturn, the planet of karma, coming in at 0 degrees Aries in alignment with Neptune. That's going to be back at 0 degrees Aries. So now you got the ruler of the bridge, the 12th house bridge, the bridge between heaven and earth, in alignment with the energy of karma, both in 0 degrees. That's karma and war, because it's going to be in Aries, both of them in Aries. Karma and war and retribution coming to the planet in February of 2026. That's when that alignment is going to happen. Go watch that movie 2012. He tells you about the alignments in there. Okay. Is Trump ignoring Israel? It don't matter. It's for all of this was for entertainment purposes only, because it don't matter. The West running the world. I just read it for you in the prophecy from Jeremiah. He said their governors shall proceed from their midst. I know some of y'all watching this probably voted for Trump. He ain't from your midst. Their time is up. Your governor's going to look like you once again. Go read Jeremiah the 30th chapter. All of this prophecy, they know this stuff is coming. All matter is conjecture. Oh, was the part they took out of the Bible, the Maccabees, the first chapter where it's telling you about Alexander the Great? Was he conjecture too? All right. And so that's me. I'm gonna read some final comments, y'all, and we're gonna get out of here. I'd like to thank again my guests. Y'all put a little hand clap in the chat for me for Mr. Nate Imhotep Jeter and my homegirl Bernadette Johnson. Y'all put it in there. Y'all put them clap emojis in the chat. I'm gonna read some final comments. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and take y'all out of the studio now. Thank y'all, because we're wrapping up. Let me read some final comments and we out of here, y'all. Let's see. All right, so we got let me see, where did I leave off? Let's see. Ibrahim is encouraging others to stand up. Right. They're all welfare recipients and the bread basket is closing down. Exactly, Tora girl. H. Basley said he kicked France out. Y'all saw that Pope wrote him a letter. I saw that, y'all. I saw that. Y'all check that out. It's some good content out there. Some great content creators keeping y'all up on what's going on. Don't even pay y'all. Y'all know how I feel about mainstream media. They're only showing you what they want to show you. They ain't showing you everything else that's going on that is probably a little bit more relevant than this program that they put together. This is why I watch Kim Iverson and Jimmy Dore. I get more news from watching them too than I do watching mainstream. I don't watch mainstream unless somebody send me an article, then I might glance at it. Tour girl, they had a contract with the world, and Africa is told to do certain things, and he's not following the script. Exactly, tour girl, exactly. Workout Junkie said, I think the new leadership has learned from the errors or missteps of the forefathers, and the world who is watching is aware of the same script the West plays to put us against doing the those doing great things. Yup. Judith said, when the president said shithouse country, and in the meantime stealing the minerals for them to stay afloat and live high. Exactly, Judith. Good point. H. Basley, y'all remember that Obama did what Obama did for Gaddafi, trying to start an African dollar. Yep. That was backed by gold. Yep. Let me put these on the screen. He's waking up Africa and the Black Springs. Absolutely. Said, I'm happy that he rejected the visit to meet with Donald Trump. Who knows how that would have ended? Look, y'all remember the history of what happened with Julius Caesar? They were like, look, here's some people that want to meet you, but don't go in there. He's like, I think it'll be okay. He had a seer tell him, don't go in there. I think it'll be okay. His wife said, look, babe, I got a bad feeling about you shouldn't go in there. I think it'll be okay. They just want to have lunch. And you make it out of that lunch. You got to read history, fam. You got to read history. He's invited. Exactly. He invited a leader of one of them S-hole countries. Exactly. If we are considering the bottom of the barrel, why do you want to talk to somebody you have talked down about? Exactly. Giving them natural resources, then they make the products and sell it back to Africa. Yeah, it's sad. It's ridiculous. They consider us the bottom of the barrel. Why would you want to talk to someone who looks like us now? Exactly. Y'all, this show it's going to happen so fast, y'all. This thing is going to happen so fast. It's literally going to be like on the Flintstones, for y'all to remember that cartoon when they would, the opening sequence for the Flintstones, every time they would show you that horn blowing and Fred and Barney getting off work. It is literally going to happen like that, y'all. It's going to be that trumpet is going to sound. God only knows what it's going to sound like, but when that trumpet sounds, it's going to be an immediate stoppage of work, and it's going to be time to pay up. That's how I see it happening. When I found out the truth about what happened to Gaddafi and how they used the so-called black president to take him out, I was highly sad. Well, they were all cousins anyway, Workout Junkie. All the Bush, Obama, all of them are family anyway. I think they're thinking that a black could get closer to take him out. Who knows? That could be true. That very well could be true. But now the time is now for the rise up. And that's happening on autopilot. We really don't have to do any. This is happening on autopilot, y'all. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Sambo is the enemy of our community. Of course, always has been. I'll do it, boss. You just want me to beat them, boss? I'll do it. Tour girl, nobody said that they were smart, but we are conscious. They did the same thing to Kenya. Well, yep. Send all them Kenyan military there to be policemen in Haiti, or Ayati, if you know the real original name. He can blend in the crowd. Exactly. Slave man mortality. Yep, he said he had a manager like that. I saw that. Said Putin, yeah, I saw that. He picked him up in his private plane, which was escorted by the military. They ain't trying that with Putin. Said Putin has a bro crush. Jojo, that's right. Crafty Council. What's up, Hotshot? Thank you for joining. She said, I agree, Matt, but when they were rising, we are in the switch. But that's when they were rising, we're in the switch. It might just happen. They might end up killing each other to protect the land. Africa will be sitting with the bag. Exactly, Tor girl. That's how it happens sometimes. What's that? Proverbs 26 and 27, universal law. Whoso diggeth the pit shall fall therein. Exactly. Time clock. Tick tock, baby. Tick tock. He is all over the place. But again, he is. I really believe he's the last president, y'all. This is the end of the game. It's the end of the game. And she was talking about net not a Jew. Beanie Man who doesn't have any money. Exactly. I have, but it's been a long time since I've seen it, so I don't remember much of it. You definitely want to watch that one again. You definitely want to watch that again, Bernadette. And thank you again for being here. Mariah said she saw it. Dwight said he remembers that movie. Go back and watch it again, Dwight. I promise you it's going to hit different now. I promise you it's going to hit different. They call 2012 sci-fi. It still had a lot of truth in it to me. And the funny thing, BE Royalty, is I couldn't see it then. But when I watched that show again today, that movie again today, to review for this upcoming live tonight, I said, oh my God, that was prophecy. We didn't even know it. What's up, Cinemera? Thank you for joining. Or Seminara. Love Ibrahim Traore. Yo, I like anybody that ain't scared to stand up to a bully. I love that. Right? We were already here. Exactly. So it ain't going down like that. It's on and popping. You got that right, Hot Shot. Yep. I will be glad when our people wake up and leave these demonic churches. It's crazy to sit under that foolishness, straight brainwashing our people for years now. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard. So how many horror stories I've heard about certain pastors that I'm not going to name on here. It's crazy. She said, that's a compliment to you there, Bernadette. That was a great video. That's right. Yes, ma'am. That's right. Okay. Let's see what else we got there. And these are the hand claps. Listen, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I know y'all, I ran long, y'all, but thank y'all for being here tonight. So I'm not going to keep y'all much longer. Y'all, thank y'all for being here. I know this was a long form program tonight. I've been doing pretty good at being around 90 minutes, but I wanted to take my time with this one tonight. And I definitely wanted to honor two brilliant minds that I respect and love. Thank y'all for being here. Nate, thank you for being here. Bernadette, thank you so much for being here. And keep them videos coming, Bernadette. Keep those videos coming. You are such a force. You are such a force. Keep them coming. So thank y'all. Thank you, Hot Shots. She said, awesome live. Thank you to everybody who's been here. If you haven't done so already, please tap that like button for me on the way out. And again, that helps the channel out a lot. If you're new to the channel and you like being entertained, educated, uplifted, and inspired, and in this case tonight, informed, hit that subscribe button and make sure that you have the notification bell set to all so you'll be notified when I drop new content. All right. And last but not least, family, tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it, right? Love is a verb. It's not just a noun. It's a verb. When we do the verb form, the noun form takes care of itself, right? All right. Show love and there'll be love. And finally, authenticity, family. Operate in your authenticity. Be you. Read your natal chart. Get a natal chart reading. Find out who you are if you don't know. Find out what you came here to do if you don't know. Everybody did not come to this earth to do the same thing, regardless of what the church tells you. Find out what you came here to do and stand up in it. Stand up in it. 100% authenticity. Authenticity is the only way for you to fulfill your destiny. If you do not fulfill your destiny, what you contracted to come to this earth to do before you got here, you're doomed to have to repeat it. Who wants to do that, right? Who wants to do that? So authenticity is the way to fulfill your destiny. Ascension happens after you complete your assignment. That's how that works. That's how that works. I love you guys. Thank y'all for being here. Ali Rule, thank you for being here. Everybody, thank y'all for being here. I love you guys so much. Thank y'all. Have a blessed night. Don't listen. Have a wonderful week. And y'all be well. Peace, family.